Well, I hope we're live.
Well, I got the Twitter notification, so we're twitting away.
All right, so I'm going to be adjusting some sounds here. Yeah, we got a few folks starting to tune in. I don't know what has happened to my audio since last week. You know, we had that great little National Night Out deal over at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, and I was having audio issues then. Now I'm having system audio. I don't know. I got to figure this out real quick because, well, we're live.
Well, maybe it's just amateur hour, and we've got to, make sure everybody knows we're amateurs.
Yeah, okay. We have to live up to it. Okay, let's see.
Look,
yeah,
we were just talking before. Bossier City is the gift that just keeps on giving and giving and giving and giving, and
yes,
today was no exception.
Yeah.
The Bossier City Council didn't let down, and even after the council meeting, they, just kept right on giving in that workshop meeting.
Well, that's what I've heard too, and unfortunately, I haven't had time, and I don't think you have either, to watch that workshop, the budget workshop or whatever. I did take a look at a screenshot I got sent or whatever, but we're going to have to look at that probably tomorrow or whatever and either have a special show on that maybe this week or we'll talk about it next Tuesday. But we've got plenty to talk about tonight.
Yeah, like I think you had in the notes that we were going to name the good old boys.
Well, I posted a deal earlier on Bossier Watch on the Facebook page. I'm also going to, because you can do posts now on YouTube, I'm going to post it on there as well. But I defined who the good old boys were, what the good old boys means. Now, I say tonight that once we get plenty of folks here, we've got about 30 people watching so far. Once we get enough folks here, we have people nominate in the comments. We kind of mentioned this, I think, last week maybe. But nominate in the comments who you want to be on the good old boys list. Let everybody decide because we all know who the good old boys are. We know what that term means. But we never have actually named them except for a few select people. So we'll talk about that some more. Howdy, Dr. J. I see you there in the Facebook comments. Good to see you. Let's see. Who else?
Well, let's go to our countdown real quick.
Okay.
I say let's go to our countdown real quick, and we'll come back and let's dive right into it.
Yeah, we'll go straight into it. I think that's a good idea, folks. Y'all know what to do. Tags your friends, text your friends, whatever. Share this out on your pages. Share this out in some groups if you're in it. I'm going to hit the countdown button so we can help kind of pay a few bills around here and pay for the software. We will be right back in about 2.5 or 3 minutes, maybe even less. And we're going to dive right into the good old boys, the Charter Commission meeting, and that darn City Council meeting today. Here we go.
Knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked. There's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
And aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
As a member of the meeting, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse.
All folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to the border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
Doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS.
We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing, folks.
Through conscious, shocking action, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr.
In theory, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go.
Remind everybody.
Yeah, well, it looks like we've got a few gremlins or shenanigans with Facebook going on. We got some notices. We're still live. Y'all, let me hear a couple of comments. Judy, appreciate that. Let me hear a few more comments from y'all. Make sure we're still live on Facebook. And if you're watching from YouTube, make sure we're still live there.
Well, it would seem that the good old boys are making an attempt to try to limit y'all learning about their activities and what goes on. I'll just say it like it is, probably what's happening here. So you guys can defeat that, but the only way to defeat it is you're going to have to share this.
Yeah,
they're doing it. Share it on some of the pages that you're on.
Pages, groups. If you're in the Bentontown Happenings group or the Bossier Parish Life group or the Sobo Live groups or South Bossier group, share it out in those groups. For some reason, when Duke and I try to do it, they're dinging us tonight. So we got to be careful here.
Yeah.
Which brings up good
job, good old boys.
Yeah, let me say one other thing too. So that brings up a good point. If for some reason we go down on Facebook, we are still live on both YouTube and Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. So just find us there because we're going to keep rolling with the show. And that brings up another point. We hit the 7,000 mark today on followers on Facebook, which is awesome. We appreciate everybody that's following us. And really, we have more people than that follow us. Just some people kind of lurk around. But we hit the 7,000 mark. That's a pretty good benchmark, dude.
Yeah, that is a good benchmark. And it's unfortunate that, I'm sitting here going to say to folks, y'all go to YouTube. Stop following us on Facebook, or maybe not just Facebook, but just go to YouTube.
YouTube or Twitter.
Facebook is still up to their stupid games. And, just there's one way to beat that.
Well, and here's the deal. So we've got about 450 subscribers on YouTube. So we would encourage you to, you can do it during the show for all that matters while we're sitting here rambling. But if not, maybe after the show when you think about it tomorrow or whatever, go over to YouTube and subscribe to us on YouTube. Because that would help us pay a few bills, again, with the software and the amount of time that we put into all this. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get back to the topics at hand. Enough about Facebook.
I don't know where to start. I really don't. So, last week, I guess we'll just jump right off into it. Last week, I forget what, it was in the afternoon, just after lunch, I got a call, saying, "Hey, did you know the Charter Commission meeting was meeting?"
Yeah, it was like a all hands on deck emergency meeting.
And you got the agenda that was posted, and apparently, if I'm correct, what you determined was they posted the meeting at noon on Thursday, and they had created the agenda maybe just an hour beforehand.
Yeah, I looked at the file stamp date on the PDF that they had posted on the website. It was created, I forget, about 9:45 Thursday morning. And so to have that Friday afternoon meeting, they had to get it posted, 24 hours before? I think the meeting was at 1 o'clock or whatever. Anyway, so they got the meeting posted on the website, like by the skin of their teeth there. Now, I don't know what time they put it on the door of City Hall. I I'll assume they did it 24 hours like they're supposed to.
Well, for whatever reason, they decided they needed to hurry and expedite things. And, what's interesting is not that meeting that took place on Friday, but the meeting before, they had a vote on all the things that they wanted to vote on, if I recall correctly. And then all of a sudden, they're having this rushed hurry up meeting.
Well,
Didn't you find
gosh,
it odd?
I couldn't imagine why they were having the we termed it the Groundhog Day meeting.
So everybody, yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, everybody watching this. I mean, I don't know where you stand. I don't know where all of y'all stand. But even if you don't stand with the term limits stuff, and you got to just scratch your head when you see all of this, and you've got to acknowledge some of the moronic things that you're going to see. I don't know how to.
Well, all
I
right.
mean,
So
I think they think we're all idiots.
look, it's gotten to the point. Who knew a few years ago when you came up with the harebrained idea for term limits and getting this introduced throughout Bossier Parish, with the exception of the school board? Who knew that not only is it about term limits, it's about literally following the law. And I've been on this kick for the last couple of shows. It's beyond the term limits now. And as we're going to see at the city council meeting, it's the hypocrisy of, oh, they won't follow the law, their own city charter, when it's something they don't like. But, oh, absolutely, they're already in a hurry to follow the city charter and follow the law when it's something that will benefit them, and them being the members of the Good Old Boy Network. Some of the members.
Yeah. So I don't know where best to start. I think we need to go through that charter commission meeting first and then transition into the council meeting that occurred today, because the discussion and the votes that took place today, the meat and potatoes of it hinge on what happened with the charter commission meeting. So I think let's just go straight to the restream on the charter commission meeting, and let's just get straight into it, and let's show folks what we're talking about.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. And I want to remind everybody, so we've got a lot of content to cover. We're going to try to get through it as quick as we can, but there's a lot of content there. But you'll definitely want to stay tuned and text a few friends, because Duke, somebody got kicked out of the city council meeting today for their comments. I'm just going to tease that out there. You want to stay tuned for that.
They sure did. And I'm just going to say, I think there's potentially going to be consequences for that. At least I hope so. And all I would tell everybody in Bossier City watching this show, keep your dogs and cats close. Guard them.
Guard them.
You need to guard them, because in Bossier City, I just don't know. We might have Haitians scraping them all up at any time.
Look,
I'm serious. It's not funny, Rick.
Look, sometimes it's not what they say, it's what they don't say, and they didn't say a whole lot except call the deputy marshals up there to escort somebody else. So that's all we're going to tease for now. That's coming up. All right, I agree. Let's see if I can get us over to the charter commission meeting. Now, I need to do this. Let me see if you can hear this. And folks, y'all let me know. I'm going to just hit play. It's going to be at a random point. Let me know if you can hear this.
And this meeting was noted.
Can you hear it? Can everybody else hear it?
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments. Put, yep, we can hear the meeting. Yes, we heard Richard Ray's ad nauseum voice. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay, yes. All right, thank you there, Mr. Michael Jorgensen. Appreciate that, from up there in Benton. All right, so I've got it queued up to the very first point, which is Richard Ray explaining the purpose of this meeting. So I'm going to hit play. We'll stop it, comment on it, and move forward. How about that?
Let's roll.
Okay.
And called by the Charter Commission in reference to a complaint that was made to the Louisiana Attorney General with regard to how the method
Wait a minute.
of voting. Those are several items alleged in the.
Wait, I got to stop already?
You got to stop already because I don't know. Can we go back in that video? Just the wide view. Hang on.
All right. Well, hold on. I'll put it in live view. All right. So now you've got control as well.
Okay. There. Everybody that's been paying attention, y'all look at the makeup of this board. Look at the makeup of this board.
What are all those empty chairs? There's like 4 empty chairs.
What? Yeah. What is going on here? Did we have the wrong video, Rex? I think we've got the wrong Charter Commission meeting.
Well, I mean, it says October the 4th. I'm pretty sure that was last Friday.
Well, what happened to the previously appointed Charter Commission meeting? You know, the ones
looks
that
like they
were-
mutinied. They all went on strike.
Oh, they're striking. I got
Yes.
it. I mean,
It was that whole dock workers strike, you know, where everybody bought up the toilet paper and paper towels around here again or some crap. Maybe they were out buying up toilet paper and paper towels on that day. I don't know.
they're probably against Trump's no tax on tips thing. That's probably what that's about.
They're anti-Trumpers, never Trumpers. I don't know. But yeah, there are several empty chairs. Now, can anybody in the comments, and you know, the folks that were at the meeting, that y'all don't get to answer, that's cheating, but can anybody guess why there are 4 empty seats up there at the meeting? Why?
I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking that how amateur we are that we don't have the previous Charter Commission meetings that we've already shown where we were arguing about their process and what they were doing. But, you know, I guess we're going to make those arguments again here in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we've already shown that. I am doing, and y'all may have noticed that I did release a couple of highlight videos. I've got plenty more that I'm legit working on over the next few days to start leaking out and cause them some more heartache, but it's their own words.
Yeah. So anyway, I just had to stop and make that point for everybody. Keep going.
Okay, here we go. So just take note that there's only 5 select members of the Charter Commission up there. All right, here we go. Back to Richard Ray.
That we're here today, and this meeting was noticed and called by the Charter Commission in reference to a complaint that was made to the Louisiana Attorney General with regard to how the method of voting. There was several items alleged in a complaint, but Mr. Jacobs and I have discussed the matter with the Attorney General's office, and we felt it was best to address the issue of how the existing members of the Charter Commission made appointments to fill the vacancies. And so this meeting is to address that issue and alleviate any concerns that anyone may have about how that decision was made on the appointment.
So let's Groundhog Day, and thus the title of this meeting. Didn't we have a whole show on Viva Voce?
Well, I think we did, but more importantly, I mean, I distinctly recall countless meetings with discussions about open meeting laws and whether they applied or whether they didn't apply. And it just seems like for some reason, you know, all of a sudden you have members on the commission. Now you don't have members on the commission. What am I missing here? It just seems I'm lost.
All right, so we've got a comment here that says the elected are missing because of quorum or their attendance invalidates the meeting. You're getting pretty warm there with that. All right, so yeah,
Just go ahead,
much,
go ahead and bring Wes up. Just 308 mark. Let's get it going.
Here we go. I should put everybody at time and a half speed. Here we go.
So, Madam Speaker, this is speaker number 1 for 3 minutes.
Speaker number 1.
Is it going to be on the screen or no timer? Okay. Wes Merritt, 211 Shadow Ridge Drive. I'll begin to address the agenda. I think that the agenda is hopelessly flawed. I do admire the Assistant City Attorney making his recommendation to correct one of the
Listen up,
deficiencies
folks.
of the August 26th meeting. I was the one that filed the complaint. It's nothing personal against the members of this commission. It was done incorrectly, and I believe anything worth doing is worth doing right. That being said, you don't get to keep the slightly legal parts of the meeting and omit the illegal parts. What Mr. Ray just said was a very polite way of saying the actions that occurred on August 26 violated the law. The way that you conducted that meeting violated the law. There were several bullet points to that complaint. The one that he wants to address right now by redoing the voting on the replacement members is just a fraction of the problems. One of the additional problems is your rules of decorum. And again, I wouldn't bring this up to you if it wasn't so that you could improve your process and do things right. Even if we disagree, if the majority of this body rules a certain way, there's very little that I can do about it other than complain. However, there is
What's the
strong
complainer?
legal precedent for your rules of decorum being a violation not only of our Constitution in Louisiana, but mountains of jurisprudence. Deep South Center for Environmental Justice versus Council of the City of New Orleans opined that if a member of the public shows up to address a public body, which this is a public body, otherwise the Attorney General's opinion wouldn't dictate a public advisory committee. But when a member of the public shows up, whether there's 4 or 400, they are afforded an opportunity by the Constitution of the state of Louisiana to speak to that public body. Having the limitation to 4 violates not only the open meetings law, it violates the Louisiana Constitution. That being said, when you violate the open meetings law, the voidability clause does not allow you to keep the legal parts of the meeting.
It does
and
not.
omit just the illegal parts. So by conducting a meeting that contains illegal portions, the entire meeting has to be redone, which is why you're voting on everything all over again.
Groundhog
Unless
Day.
you want this process to repeat ad nauseum until your 18-month term expires, I would implore you to call this meeting, go back to the drawing board, draw up a legal agenda, draw up legal rules of decorum, and stop breaking the law.
Yeah, because this is. Has anybody ever seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? It's like a great movie, but it is.
It's every
perfect for
meeting.
this. Yeah,
It's perfect.
it's
It
like
is.
go forward and then reset, and we're back to where we were. And Wes's point will be made more clear in just a little bit, because essentially what they're doing is they're talking about approving the agenda for the last meeting, but the last meeting didn't happen because they voted by secret ballot to appoint the people that were at the supposed last meeting, which is really no longer a meeting. So how can you approve the minutes of that meeting?
Yeah.
Does everybody follow that?
Well, look, there's not a lot of comments I'm seeing coming through. I don't know. Are y'all asleep out there, or are you
They're
just
either
tuned
asleep
in?
and shocked trying to figure out what's going on. So let me break it down for you. We had an entire show titled Viva Voce. You can go back and watch. We pointed out what happened. They voted by secret ballot. And I'm going to get up and talk about this here in just a minute. We'll listen to it. By doing that, the new appointees to the Charter Commission were invalid. They weren't technically appointed once the AG got involved. So that cancels that meeting and then every meeting since then.
No, wait a minute. Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on Facebook.
Is Wes a lawyer?
No, he's not a lawyer,
Well,
but
I-
it
I'm
ain't
no
hard to
lawyer.
read laws.
I'm no lawyer either, but I mean, somehow or another, we're the idiots here. But yet, for some reason, we're having this meeting, and all those commission members they were there. Now they're not there anymore for some reason.
Yeah, imagine that. They're there. They're just all sitting out in the audience. You can't see them in the camera shot.
Isn't that a coincidence? They're not in the camera angle?
Yes, that's odd. All right, so here we go. Let's let you step up to the plate.
So speaker number 2, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, Duke.
Duke Lowry, 1835
County.
Glen Cove Drive, Benton, Louisiana. My business is 1017 Benton Road, Bossier City, Louisiana. So I'm a little confused. I come here today and I see that some of the original commission members are here, and I see that some of the appointed members are sitting in the audience. So what I'm confused about is what rules are we operating under here? Are we operating under open meeting law rules, or are we not? Apparently something changed.
I'm going to stop me for a
Oh,
second.
okay.
I'm going to stop me for a second, but did anybody know that there was going to be a different makeup of the board prior to everybody showing up here today? I had no idea.
Well, not only that, it wasn't really, for lack of a better term off the top of my head, it wasn't really advertised in the beginning for these new members, and they certainly didn't advertise that, oh, they're going to have to do a redo again, which some people maybe they wanted to consider being appointed.
Yeah, I mean, just I didn't know. I mean, did anybody else get the opportunity to be, to throw their name in the hat for appointment? No, I don't think that they did.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Anyway, let me finish.
Okay.
Are sitting in the audience. So what I'm confused about is what rules are we operating under here? Are we operating under open meeting law rules, or are we not? Apparently something changed, and it's changed from one day to the next, and I'll go back and I'll read a quote, if I can find it. At the meeting of 8/26, we were following open meeting laws. Charter Commission member Parks stated, LARS 4217, behavior considered to be disruptive will not be allowed, and this should serve to put the public on notice, end quote. So we were applying open meeting laws at that meeting. Then on September the 11th, during questioning, the assistant city attorney says 4219, which is the same paragraph, does not apply to this group, but we have voluntarily applied it anyway to go over and above to make sure that the process is transparent and is open. I mean, there was comments at one of the commission meetings where Viva Voce was pointed out, and the argument about that open meeting laws does not apply. So I'm assuming by this action, this body is acknowledging that they are bound by open meeting laws or not. And that's what I'd like to have clarification on.
Crickets.
Can you
Boy,
clarify?
they're not so chatty tonight, are
We're
they?
conducting the meeting as the agenda shows. So, Mr. Ray, I don't know if you have any comment on that. Or...
I would reiterate what I said before. This body has voluntarily and always
Words
applied
matter,
open meetings
Richard.
laws, and they've done it in every other meeting, and they're doing it today.
Right.
Okay, so the
is anybody else
appointment was
as
in compliance
confused
with
as
open
I
meeting
am
laws?
still about whether he's the city attorney, the acting city attorney? Are they open meetings? Are they not? Are they a public body? I mean, what the heck are? If it's not an open meeting, we don't have to follow the rules of decorum. We can say whatever we want.
If it's not bound by open meeting law rules, then why are the other commissioners sitting in the audience?
Right.
But they won't answer my question. Richard Ray says he's saying we're not bound by it right here, right now. He's saying it again. But yet,
yeah, they're doing it out of convenience, to be nice to all you common folks out there. All us common folks. They're just, out of the goodness of their hearts, they're conducting it as if it were an open meeting, which is literally not what he said at the January 16th meeting.
I mean, can anybody watching the show, there's over 100 something of y'all watching, can any of y'all, I mean, it's inexplicable to me. I'm just scratching my head. Maybe y'all can explain it. Maybe you understand it, but let's let it keep rolling.
The members that are sitting in the audience?
Did you take a look at item number 3 on the agenda?
Well, I see that you're covering it, but when that action was taken in meetings after, there were members of the public that pointed out they felt, and they were disregarded by this commission. So I'm wondering.
Mr. Lyra, I said at the beginning that we're here today because there was a complaint made, and we're going to move through this agenda. So I think that I think you know the answer to that. I think you're just grandstanding, but we.
Were you
I'm
grandstanding,
not, I
Duke?
truly want to know, because there's another part of this agenda I want to address, and either open meeting laws apply or they do not.
Ding,
Well, as I've said
ding.
many times, this group is voluntarily applying open meetings laws, so yes, they apply. They have in every other meeting.
What? Wow. All right, here we go. Time for the
Speaker
asshole.
number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Number 3, Rex Moncrief, 2208 Hickory Ridge Drive, Bossier City. So I'm going to do a quote here. Phil said, "Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?" That's a quote from the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. I don't know if any of you have ever seen that, but a very funny movie. And it seems like we have a bit of deja vu going on here, so let's review. At the August 26 meeting, Sandra Morhart introduced the method of the secret ballot, and Richard Ray was crystal clear on the manner, even joking about being Price and Waterhouse with Amanda Nottingham. In Richard Ray's response to the Attorney General's inquiry about the Viva Voce violation, he stated, and I quote, "Several of the current charter members of the Charter Review Commission are also members of the Bossier City Commission for Women, and that organization uses a balloting system to refine and select persons to be appointed to fill vacancies in their organization. First of all, the Bossier City Commission for Women is a private, non-profit organization, not a public body. So that really doesn't matter, but I'm sure y'all are aware of that now. They can vote or nominate using whatever method they choose." Next, Richard also stated to the AG, it was, quote, "It was unknown to myself and Amanda Nottingham, the Bossier City CAO, how the Charter Review Commission would choose appointees to fill the 4 vacant positions," unquote. Well, that is wholly disingenuous, since both Richard Ray and Amanda Nottingham were the ones who actually counted the secret ballots. You can clearly see it in the video of the meeting. And to top it off, Richard Ray called out the secret ballot totals and even suggested another secret ballot runoff between Lisa Smith and Debbie Martin. Not once did Richard Ray even suggest a violation of Viva Voce, but he definitely knew what was transpiring. So here we are again, another clown show meeting to repeat a process that was flawed from the beginning due to the sabotage initially by the city council good old boys and this very body under the watchful eye of the assistant city attorney. It's Groundhog Day again. Here we go.
Now listen to this. This is
Mr.
important.
I'll take full responsibility for the way the vote was handled. It was my idea. I made the ballots. I had no idea that I was breaking open meeting law. I clearly stated when this got started, I am not an attorney. I'm a cook.
Wait a minute.
I'm
Yeah.
a private.
Stop.
Yep. Let's
What-
hear that again. What did she say?
What law? Repeat that?
All right, here we go. Y'all listen up, folks. This is important.
Responsibility for the way the vote was handled. It was my idea. I made the ballots. I had no idea that I was breaking open meeting law. I clearly stated when this got started, I am not an attorney. I'm a cook. And I'm a private citizen doing the best that I can do. And so I take full responsibility for that. No one else on this commission.
So I'm going to pause it there for a second. So that's important because the way the open meetings law works, if you violate that, the individual members are responsible, and it's up to a $500 penalty per person. They're individually responsible if it goes forward. And let's say there's a lawsuit filed and a judge rules on it, which it's absolutely crystal clear.
I want to point something out. I commend Miss Whitman for acknowledging that. I didn't know that she was the one that promoted the method by which they were going to do their voting. And to her credit, I would say that she's probably sincere.
She probably is, but she opens another can of worms by saying that, because how did they all know that they were going to do a secret ballot if they didn't have a damn walking quorum before the meeting?
That's absolutely correct. I totally 100%. And I've said multiple meetings about them having walking quorums. I think I might have even said something about it this meeting, maybe not. But Agreed. But more importantly, I take issue. I mean, and I hate I'm in this position with Miss Whitman because I have always had a good rapport with her and her husband over the years. But look, I got to call it like I see it. She's describing herself as I'm just a cook. I'm simply just a cook. Well, that's
So
not
what?
entirely No,
Yeah.
that's not accurate. She's more than that. She is the wife of the sitting city marshal of Bossier City,
Right.
who, argue if you want, is a part of city government in Bossier City, who they are right now making proposed changes to what governs the city of Bossier City.
Right.
And I think that's a conflict. But she
Well,
doesn't acknowledge that. She's not, it's not just simply that you're a cook.
it's like we've been alluding to, it's a bigger picture than just term limits. The term limits has just, I mean, greatly exposed what's going on here and the shenanigans and how they conduct these meetings. This is literally the Keystone Cops, or a clown show, as I like to say it. All right.
But you know, right now, this right here is a good example. And this is an example to me of society, because when we watch the council meeting here a little later, Miss Whitman speaks and at the council meeting, and she talks about in a wider view of the problems facing our country.
Right.
And like we're seeing right now, I'm going to tie this to North Carolina. You know, we see in some cases, we see fellow citizens that at the drop of a hat will turn and take away a right of their fellow citizen, you know, to maintain their power. And I putting their self-interest ahead of everybody else.
Right.
I got a problem with that. And the only way we keep and it could be you, Rex. It could be you sitting there on that charter commission, and whatever it is, you could turn on a dime. But somebody has to be there, even if it's your best friend, they have to be there to call you out
To
on
keep
it
it in
and to
check.
hold you, to keep it in check.
Yeah.
And not enough people are doing that. We've got to have more people do it, and we can't just do it at one moment. We have to do it. It has to be a consistent drumbeat and keep our finger on the pulse of everything all the time. You can't let it go. And that's the problem with the country, is we have let it go. We have let other people take
Get
up the
by with all
slack.
this.
That's right. And it's
Yeah.
gotten out of whack.
And it's got to stop. So Wes has a comment. He says, Sandra Morehart introduced the ballots and ballot measure, no introduction from Whitman. Now, y'all just saw Vicki Whitman try to fall on the sword. Well, I wasn't having any of that either. I missed my calling. I should have been a prosecuting attorney, according to my mother. So here we go. Well, I appreciate that, but it's clear in the video it was actually Miss Morehart's idea that
she
she
might have
vocalized.
said.
And not only do we have 1, 2, 3 attorneys, you also had Glenn Langley at another meeting, another attorney in here.
Okay,
Thank you for your
taken.
comments.
You're
I
welcome.
take responsibility.
I guess maybe she's saying she's taking responsibility because wasn't she chairing the meeting?
Well, look, it's beyond, yes, well, I think so, but it's beyond that. So you saw Richard Ray try to do his little weasel tricks at the beginning of the meeting and just say, well, it was just because of a complaint. I can't believe he didn't use the term out of an abundance of caution. We're redoing and having a Groundhog Day meeting. The fact of the matter is they broke the law largely. Vicki Whitman's trying to fall on the sword. That's okay because they're all in on it. I mean, they all that participated in it. There's just no way around that. All right. Here we go with, let's see, this would be Miss Cassie Rogers, who did an excellent job
So
here.
speaker number 4, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commission. I see we are here again. I didn't think we would meet again, but hello to y'all. The agenda is flawed in many ways. First, where is the consideration for Ms. Lisa Smith, as Mr. Peak is unable to fulfill his duties in any capacity? Second, as I've called for before,
This is
if we're
great
going to
right
consider
here.
and accept resignations for
Listen
Preston
up.
Friedley solely on the basis of who he's related to, why is Juliana Parks still a part of this body? It is now crucial that we finally get things more right than we have done before, even though us common folk have been begging you to just do the right thing. Juliana benefits both directly and indirectly from the changes proposed at the commission. At the South Bossier Town Hall meeting, I said I would die on the hill that dealt with ethics. This process has been far from ethical. Let's do things right, starting right now. Juliana is married to a city judge and as a police juryman. If you can tell me with a clear conscience that there are zero interactions with the mayor and the policies awarded to him by this city charter, then I will revoke my argument.
Get them, Cassie.
Unfortunately, Ms. Whitman is also married to someone who is elected in the city as well. Ms. Whitman, please, this is not personal. I'm just stating it as a point of reference. I'm grateful for your patience, but I do feel that you've been totally ignored by your fellow commission members, as was shown in the last meeting that you weren't here for. However, it's sometimes more important to do things that are ethical instead of what you want to do. We can do the right thing today. We can all stand up and walk out of here and just either start over or let this ride and reconvene at another time. Thank you.
So did y'all hear that? She was taking no prisoners. Now, Duke, I think in a previous meeting, you've kind of alluded to it. Cassie just pretty much put it all out there on the table, calling out Juliana and Vicky's conflicts of interest. And look, you could even stretch that to Sandra Morehart, because remember, her husband is Travis Morehart of, auditor fame for all the public bodies around here. I mean, he's hired by those bodies and paid by those bodies to do it. So I'm not saying that's a direct conflict of interest, but do you remember anybody disclosing that other than us?
Well, I don't know that he does anything for Bossier City currently. I don't think that he does. I think, in which I heard, and I've got to confirm this, but I heard that upon the election of Tommy Chandler, his association with the person or the firm that was doing it with Bossier City or whatever ended. I don't know. I got to get some clarification on that. But he has a long history of doing things with Bossier City, as I understand it.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Who do we have up next? Wes Marriott, and he does a good job of explaining what I referenced just a few minutes ago about the minutes of a meeting that technically didn't happen. So here we go.
Speaker number one, you have 3 minutes.
My question, which I doubt will be answered, I see you're limiting your public interaction. Who are the commission members present for the September 16th meeting? If they were the members that were appointed in violation of the open meetings law on August 26th, you cannot approve the minutes of that meeting. You cannot approve any of the actions of that meeting. That's why we're here. That's why you're redoing everything. And you're redoing everything again incorrectly. By speaking to the point and calling out speakers 1 through 4, you're violating the open meetings law and you're violating the Constitution.
Now, that's an important point to remember as we proceed on through tonight's show and eventually get to the city council meeting. Remember that fact. They're literally violating open meetings laws again at this very meeting, which they're going to approve some stuff later. So keep that in mind. Here we go.
Again, Deep South Center for Environmental Justice versus the Council of City New Orleans, the appellate court opined that even a technical violation, which is what the defendants called it, a technical violation is still a violation. It's a violation of open meetings law. Whether you forget something big or something small, you must follow the law. And you're not doing that here. How can you possibly accept the minutes into the record of this body when you had commissioners who you are now re-voting on because they were appointed in violation of the open meetings law? There's a reason we didn't get a direct answer on whether that appointment was legal or not, or whether this body follows or is required to follow the open meetings law. But Assistant City Attorney Mr. Ray was very clear on January 16th, 2024, when he warned this body and said, I have to warn you, this is a public body and you are bound by the open meetings law and you cannot meet in a group of 4 or more or a group of 5 or more because that would be a quorum. The topic of discussion at the time was you guys wanted to get together and come up with a game plan. You wanted to learn more about each other. And Mr. Ray was right to warn you that meeting in groups that large would be a violation of the open meetings law. It is disingenuous for him to say now, well, I said we're going to be more transparent. We may not have to follow. It's not what he said. I recorded it. I can play it back for you. I played it back for the Attorney General. He warned you, this is a public body. You are duty-bound and obligated by your oath of appointment and the Louisiana Constitution to follow the law. So, how can you possibly approve the minutes for a body that was illegally constituted? You cannot take up ballots and not, everyone has to vote by voice and say, I'm voting for this person.
Viva voce.
So I think there's a lot of
Viva
problems here.
Las Vegas.
And I think it was very right for Mr. Moncrief to say it's going to be Groundhog Day, because every single time you violate the open meetings law, we're going to come back and do it over again. So do it right the first time, or use up all of your free time for this unpaid commission and waste taxpayers in your own time. Thank you.
So I want to point out another thing, too, as we proceed to this. I pointed out them earlier. Keep an eye on this lady and this lady back here. And take a wild guess who they're friends with. Right? As a matter of fact, there was a little kerfuffle with this lady, I think it was the blonde lady, at the end of the meeting. That wasn't really caught on camera.
Well, actually, it was caught on camera. But I don't know that we have it ready.
Well, we might can say that.
We might could get it ready pretty quick, but
we'll save that for later.
We got a lot to get through.
We got tons tonight. Okay. So that was Wes's deal. Let's see. I think Cassie had another. Let's hear from Mr. Maddox for a minute, though. How about that?
Yes.
And not to skip over Cassie, because her other comments were great, but just to give everybody a turn up at the plate. Here we go.
Holiday Place, Bossier City.
So speaker number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Number 3. Dang, I'm coming up there. Who on this board was here on the 16th of September? Raise your hands, please. No? Miss Whitman?
Yes.
You weren't here.
Oh, that was on, I'm sorry, I was on vacation.
Therefore, there was no quorum. Therefore, there was no meeting.
Oh, a double
You
whammy.
can tear up everything that you said and did on the 16th and start back before the 26th of August.
Remember that, folks.
There
It's
was
important.
no meeting on the 16th. If any one of you had any integrity, you would resign and walk out the door. Let the citizens of Bossier City have an honest charter commission. Go home.
Bam! Drop the mic.
I mean, wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Again,
I don't know that cat, but hopefully if somebody does know him, tell him that I appreciate his words and good job. I wish I would have saw him at the end of the meeting but anyway.
Yeah, well, and the timeline is important here when they're talking about these dates, because again, what they're doing at this meeting is a violation of open meetings law, which in theory should negate this meeting as well, hence another Groundhog Day, which again has bearing at the city council meeting later, or may have bearing. All right. So that was Mr. Rusty Maddox, who is in the comments. So when you see Rusty Maddox commenting on the Facebook side, let's see, I'll put a comment of his up on the screen. There's one. And here's another comment. That was Mr. Maddox right there speaking. All right.
Well, good job, Mr. Maddox, and we're glad that you came and spoke up and said had your piece.
Absolutely. All right. So let's skip up to now they're trying to nominate and select Vicky Whitman as the chairman pro tem for this meeting, and so the commentary is on this topic, and Wes is up to bat again.
Greg Bell, believe it or not, I don't scout Facebook for people who post on the show. I don't go scouting their pictures in person. I do have a life and have to work and make a living. No offense meant to anybody.
Well, full disclosure, I actually do. So anyway, here we go. I scout people. I dig into their profiles. All right.
See, that's Rex's job, and that again, if we were not amateurs, he would have conveyed to me, "Oh, hey, dude, you know who that is."
Right. All right. Here we go.
In football, when the defense
Would you
is
state your name and
offsides.
address, please?
Sure. I don't think I'm required
who the hell
to,
is he?
but for your convenience, I'm still Weston Riley Marriott, 211 Shadow Ridge Drive.
Still,
Speaker number 1, you have 3 minutes.
In football, when the
is
defense
walking
jumps
entertainment.
offside before the play starts, or they start offsides, it's called a free play. The offense gets to take the ball back. If they throw interception, no big deal. If they run to the end zone and get a touchdown, they get to keep it. But if they mess up and the play goes badly, it's a free play. You guys are offsides. And this is a free play for the offense, which is the rest of Bossier City, who, by and large, a huge majority disagree with the actions this body is taking. So I just have 2 questions.
This is
for,
great. Listen up.
The proposed commission chair. Are you married to a department head for the city of Bossier City?
I think you know the answer to that.
We're on the record.
Yes,
Thank you.
I am. Very
Thank you.
proudly married to him. He's a
I
fine
would be
person.
too. He's a great man.
Thank you.
Are you familiar with any Louisiana
Here we
ethical statutes that may prohibit you from accepting a position on this commission? Are you aware of any?
Mr. Marriott, as you know, this is a period of public comment.
Sure,
We
she can
accommodate-
choose, and I'll use my time, she can choose to answer or not, and not answering is an answer to the people who are watching. Now, if you choose not to answer, I can tell you that there are issues with your appointment, and I think
Cool.
you should know that there's an
we
outstanding
go.
hearing in the month of October that's going to determine whether you are allowed to serve in this position. The Ethics Board for Louisiana does not just investigate past instances of unethical activity, but they also take a proactive stance to prevent people like you, who are good people, from being in a position where they're authorized to affect the office of their spouse. I'm not saying you would ever do that. I'm not saying that Jim would ever be the recipient of that. However, the ethics laws prevent the possibility of those things occurring, and that's why they're going to have a hearing on your position on this body. And I know you're aware of that.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there. So do y'all see the irony in this? Preston Friedley's resignation was due, because Chris put it out there in a public meeting, was due to a potential ethics violation. The city attorney, the entire city council voted to approve all the members, including Preston. This particular body voted to approve Preston as the initial chairman. And then basically they tried to tar and feather him, which was the plan all along.
But
Meanwhile,
there's a big difference here, Rex. There's
Okay.
a big difference here. The big difference is that Preston Friedley was given the alternative to resign, or else none of the ladies were going to come back to another meeting so long as he was on the committee.
oh,
And it
you
was
mean there was a
resign or-
little
it was resign or else.
coercion, extortion, all those kind of buzzwords come to mind?
And so for those of you out there in the world, I didn't say allegedly. I said that Preston Friedley was given the option to resign because all of the ladies were not going to come to another meeting. And by all means, sue me.
Yeah, if only we
By
had
all
proof
means.
of that.
I really looking forward to the depositions. I mean,
Yes.
sue me and let's get the depositions going. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
1017 Benton Road, come serve me.
So that's the hypocrisy or irony, as you want to, however you want to term it here, is that the whole Preston Friedley deal they did to derail the term limits, while Vicki Whitman and Juliana Parks are sitting there still on the commission, both with potential ethics conflicts.
But there's a difference.
Okay.
You know, Preston voluntarily stepped out of the way,
Yes, he did.
but apparently not for other members on here that have ethical questions.
Right.
They don't seem to have any ethical questions.
All right. Kara, he was talking to Vicki Whitman, you know, the Jim Whitman's wife, the city marshal. All right. Let's let Wes continue.
Again, I don't think you're qualified by the basic qualifications in that your spouse is a department head, and you have the ability, if you so choose, to recommend changes to the charter that could affect his office. That's prohibited. So you cannot accept this appointment, not only as a commissioner, but let alone the chairman of this commission.
Let me
Thank
just clarify something so that we make sure the record's clear. Mr. Whitman is the elected city marshal for Bossier City. That's not a department head in the city of Bossier City. There's a copy of the charter right there. You can look at the old charter, new charter.
Who sets the budget for the marshal?
Bingo.
Is that a city budget?
Mr. Marriott, you said it was a department.
Well, you don't
head.
get to
He's
just
not a
fact
department
check
head.
matter,
Mr.
Richard.
CNN and just say, hey, here's my spin on it. There's facts, there's your opinion, and there's my opinion. But you can't opine from the dais and say, here are the facts.
Mr. Marriott, your time is up.
Thank you.
Speaker number 2, anyone?
Anybody want to answer the
and-
question where the city marshal's office gets its budget and all that, and literally where
Well,
their
look.
offices are housed?
Look, in just a little while, when we get over onto the council meeting, literally the city council today voted to approve the replacement of somebody in the marshal's office who resigned just today. Just today.
Yeah,
And,
they
and
did.
yet the wife of the head of the marshal's office is making the rules for the governing document of the city that approves the financing for the marshal's office, approves the business there. I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. But
But we're the dumbasses, pardon my French.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all us common folks out here, we don't know anything. It's all those people up there. They know better than you do.
Wait a minute. She's just a cook. She's just a
Oh,
cook.
she's just a cook. Yeah. What was that meeting Under Siege with what's his name? The guy that did the Ken Poe deal. Anyway, he was just a cook. He wasn't really a Navy SEAL in the movie. Anyway. All right.
Well, we got to pick it up. We got to pick it up a little bit. You may get us up to 1.5. And anyway, so I'll give a real fast speech right here.
Okay. Let's see. Duke has the fastest speech in history. Oh yeah. Here we go.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Speaker number 2, anyone?
Bueller. Go sit down, Duke.
That's it. Time's up.
I had to reset it.
That's it.
Duke Lowry, 1835 Glen Cove Drive,
So
Benton,
speaker number
Louisiana.
2, you have 3 minutes.
Well, I'll
think
be nicer. I'm going to speed you
considering
up.
the appointment of a
Go ahead.
She called me speaker. She's already named me. She's identified me as speaker number 2. Why do I have to say my name again?
Oh, that's it. Papers, please. They're assigning serial numbers to everybody. All right,
Anyway.
here we go. And I've got you. Well, let's put you at 1.25 speed. We're going to do everybody that way. Here we go.
new chairman of this commission, I think it is relevant to the members of this existing commission's relationship to offices within the city of Bossier. I think at a previous meeting, I asked the rhetorical question of who makes money or who benefits financially one way or indirectly, off of the city some sort of way. To which I recall getting a response, I'm not making nothing, I'm not making nothing, I'm not making nothing. And, the public is smart, the public knows. I could sit here and go through the commission members up here and name how indirectly there are benefits, and I'm just stating for a matter of record, I think that, there are conflicts of interest. And if you say, well, why is there not any conflicts of interest? Well, all one has to do is go through the draft charter that was handed out, thank you, at the last meeting I was at, and if you look at the legal department, there's hardly a change regarding the legal department.
Imagine that.
Also of note, there's nothing in here that addresses anything about the city judge's office. There's nothing
Everything must
that
be
addresses
hunky-dory there.
the city marshal's office in here. But yet, those two bodies are both housed within the facilities of Bossier City. Taxpayers of Bossier City are paying for that. How is that funded? Is there any accountability, or do we just not even account for things there? I'm just curious. So several members up here have a role in that. They have a interest in that. I think it's in the public interest for them to know that. And I don't think somebody should be leading this that has an interest.
The blind leading the blind. Now, of course, Richard Ray has got a retort for pretty much everything, so listen up.
Speaker number 3.
Oh, well.
Anyone?
Bueller. I guess I was at the wrong.
Seeing no other public comment, we will go on and vote for Vicki Whitman as chairman pro tem for.
So they just ignore the potential conflicts and vote her in.
Yep, they just march right along. Nothing anybody says, it's in one ear, out the. And let's, we haven't mentioned Jeter. Let's not exclude Jeter here. And
it was all unanimous votes again.
Judas Jeter. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm told, and I don't know, that Mr. Jeter makes his money off of redoing houses within Bossier City. And there's something about these houses, and that it's some nonprofit deal, and somebody, in which I haven't determined this to be a fact or not, but possibly that some of those houses come by way of the city of Bossier. They're torn down. I mean, they're dilapidated and all that stuff, and that the city of Bossier turns them over. If anybody in the comments knows this or the case or how to describe it, but they get donated to his nonprofit. Some churches in the community donate money to rehab those churches that the city donates to that nonprofit, and then he makes a salary by virtue of rehabbing those properties. And how they dispense with them after that, I don't exactly know. But if anybody knows about that, by all means in the comments. And because I really want to research that and know, because it would explain a lot to me if that be the case, and what his interest is.
Yeah,
because
he did a complete 180.
Yeah, he dang sure didn't stand with all of the petition people. He turned his back on all of us.
Yeah, so it would be interesting. And if you don't want to put it in the comments or whatever, there's always Proton Mail. As a reminder, go make a free Proton Mail account. Don't put any identifying information in it. Send an email to bossierwatch@protonmail.com from your Proton Mail account, and we do read those. Okay. We had a suggestion from Miss Jerry. Bossier Watch needs a template to overlay the committee member name and address, since there are no name placards when they sit on the bench and furniture. We could do that. Of course, then they would accuse us of putting their publicly available addresses up there. But we might could do that. All right. So, let's see. Where are we at? The 28-minute mark. Here's Ruth Pope Johnston, and she's speaking about the notices.
It passes unanimously.
All right. Under new business, item 3, consider action to appoint Mike Lombardino, Debbie Martin, Jeff Lee, and Paul Peak Sr. to fill the 4 vacancies in the commission created by the resignations of Shane Cheatham, David Johnson, Preston Freedley Jr., and Patarina Subas.
I make that motion.
Second.
All right. Public comments.
Here we go. You're up, Miss Ruth.
Ruth Pope Johnston, Tillman, 7-11-11.
Speaker number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I've reviewed previous agendas of this commission to determine the manner in which you notified public of a call for submission of CVs and resumes and an upcoming vote to seat new members to replace resignations. This is the second time that I've raised this issue before this commission and asked how the process was handled. I was informed at that time that there was an announcement made at the end of a previous arduous meeting, and then I guess maybe some persons were notified preferentially after the meeting, but whatever happened with that, when we came to the next meeting, there were people on hand that had submitted their resumes, CVs, and then there was a vote, perhaps. There was a vote taken. And, the thing that comes to mind is that there was never any real effort to garner greater participation on the part of the public. And I'm not certain that that was ever really the goal. I don't believe that the agenda would have, I believe that had the matter been on the agenda, that that's what you're doing, it would have encouraged greater participations. So many times of late, we were told that we were now rushing forward because you as a commission did not want to waste all the work that had been done through the commission.
Good
It
point.
appears that's a moot point at this point, since we're having to redo it. I'm reminded that the group, that when the validity of votes and the inadequate notifications via the agenda documents were brought up, we in the audience were told that the group was pushing ahead, and this is what one does when, and this is according to the Assistant City Attorney, when there's no validity in his estimation to the numerous complaints that have been sent to the AG's office. But here we are today, and we are starting over. I believe that my friends in Bossier City know what a stacked deck looks like.
Stacked deck.
Especially one that renders a unanimous decision now on every vote taken. I'm asking for public notice of vacant seats since the seats are not filled at this point. I'm asking that a public notice be made of the vacant seats on the Home Rule Charter Commission and a request for any interested public parties to forward their resumes or CVs for consideration. The good old boy, backroom, self-serving way of city governance in this city has to stop.
I wonder if they're tired of hearing good old boy yet.
You decide to vote on new members, again, please note it on the agenda so that interested parties may attend. As an aside, I would ask Mr. Ray, the letter that was put forth to you from the AG, will that be made available to the public?
Now, listen up.
Ma'am, I didn't get a letter from the AG. The members of the commission did, and it's a public document. If you'd like one, I'd get it to you.
I would love one, thank
Sure.
you.
So, did y'all catch that last part? Richard Ray said he didn't get a letter from the AG. The individual members did because he's an ex officio member. But how did he get his tentacles on the letter? Because he's the one that responded to the AG's office. We actually published Wes's response to Richard's response on our Facebook page. So that begs the question, how did he get it? Well, he's basically admitted that other members sent it to him, which means he's acting as the city attorney for the public body known as the Bossier City Charter Commission. Say that close enough?
Yeah. Well, in the comments, Jerry asks a question, says, where is the evidence of all the work the members accomplished? Is all their work done in public? It's funny you ask that because in today's council meeting, they were voting on approving an ordinance and sending it to the bond commission without having even read it or seen it today.
Oh, yeah. Brian Hammond's made that a point, too. We're going to get to it. That's coming up here probably in 20 minutes or so, 15 or 20 minutes. So, yeah.
So we might
Logan.
pick up and speed up a little bit.
Yeah, we might better put everybody on double time. I'm going to put everybody on time and a half, so we'll have a little bit of chipmunk speed. But this is a good point that you made on the appointments and the statutes governing that.
You have 3 minutes. So if this body is bound by open meeting laws, I'm wondering if a walking quorum by this body were to occur, would that be considered a violation by this body? Just curious. I'm guessing I wouldn't get an answer on that. And the reason that I bring that up is because one of the replacements that you are contending here to make is one of Preston Freely. So as you're considering replacing members, I want to quote RS 1395-1, where it talks about the composition of charter commissions and for municipal, parish, all that, where it says members who shall be elected or appointed in the manner provided by the governing authority of the municipality or parish. And it goes on to say that members will be appointed by this, replacements of somebody resigns or what have you. We can all agree to that. But the next thing that comes to mind, which is where my question really is our city charter. Chapter 21, so is this commission following the charter and bound by the charter as well too? Because in chapter 21, section 2102, item number 3, all commissioners must be approved by ordinance and by a simple majority vote of city council members. So as you consider appointing and filling these seats, my question is, are you bound by the city charter as well too? Because the statute says that the city can adopt rules, and they have. It clearly says that by ordinance they have to be approved by the council members, and the statute says that you can appoint members. So I would contend the people that you propose to put in these positions, have they been approved by the council by method of ordinance? Or are they going to? I suspect you guys are going to ignore anything that any of the speakers up here say today, but I would contend you should consider it.
Mr. Lowry, I'll address that, and I think we did in other earlier meetings. The charter states that the members are appointed by the council by ordinance, and everyone that was appointed was, but the charter is silent on vacancies. And so Louisiana law fills the gap and says in the instance where there's vacancies, that's where revised statute 33-1395.1 is the only guiding authority that addresses vacancies. There's nothing in the charter. And so this body is making appointments pursuant to Louisiana law and in accordance with the charter.
I think it's like an attorney general's opinion. You get one attorney general's opinion, and from one term to the next, as one of the commissioners pointed out, I think that's your opinion. I would disagree with interpretation. I'm no lawyer, Rhodes Scholar, or Stupidville, but I could be possibly right.
I thought you
think
were a
you would
lawyer for a
say
little bit.
That probably would be something the judge would have to determine.
Well, there's no AG opinion on the issue at all that I'm aware of, and there's nothing in the law that says how you fill appointments, either in the charter. The only thing that there is in Louisiana law, and it's clear that on a charter commission, any type of charter commission, which this is, vacancies are to be filled by the existing members. So that's what they're doing.
Right. The first sentence says that a municipality can set their rules. Bossier City has rules that says part of the qualifications are approved by the council.
And they were.
By ordinance.
They were. But there's no rule on vacancies.
It doesn't delineate between initial appointment and vacancies.
I would agree with that. But there's nothing in the charter that says anything about vacancies. The law says the charter commission fills the vacancies.
It's a gray area.
Well, no, it's pretty clear.
No, it's not, Richard.
Yeah, so y'all, if you wasn't following that, the point I was getting at, clearly in the city charter, it says that any members to a charter review commission will be approved by ordinance. And it was Jeff sat out. I agree, Jeff. It's hard, like, critiquing myself here or whatever. But anyway, it says that they'll be approved by ordinance. I mean, and in the statute, there is something that talks about vacancies that says that the charter commission would fill those vacancies, but are we following open meeting laws or not? Or, does the
only when it's
charter,
only when it's convenient for them.
I mean, they're following the city charter and some of the rules as the city charter delineates, and which is it, you can't have it both. And just because the city charter doesn't address the issue of vacancy specifically, that doesn't mean that the statement that appointees to the charter commission will be approved by the council by ordinance doesn't mean that a vacancy, that wasn't the intent of the authors of the charter.
Right.
I mean, that's my point.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to play this next comment, which is from me, and then pay close attention to the comment after me, which is from Wes. And note that I'm number 4 in this. Here we go. Let's see.
3 minutes.
So I'd also like to point out that Richard Ray said that the violation of the Viva Voce was not a violation, and he was incorrect about that as well. So he's likely incorrect about the appointments also. But I would also like to point out that by electing Preston Friedman as the chairman, and we all know how that situation came about, because he was appointed by the city council under the direction of the city attorney's office, and as it turns out, he probably shouldn't have been. But by y'all electing him or appointing him as chairman, and I think it was the first or the second meeting, that in itself was an illegal act, and that may cause y'all to have to revert every single meeting since then. So that's another interesting point to take. Now, the city attorney or assistant city attorney, if he is the attorney or whatever, may disagree, but again, that's his opinion.
Ha-ha! Now, here comes Wes.
We no longer have any
4.
speaker slots left. You need to wait for the next agenda item.
Madam Chairman, are you going to enforce that rule and not allow a fifth speaker?
Yes,
Wonderful.
I am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wasn't that interesting? Now, I noticed that Mr. Lowry has left the building or the show for just a little bit. That's okay. He's got something to take care of. He'll be right back. So here we go. Let's listen to the vote here. Here they go. They voted to accept all the reappointments, and they're going to fill the seats again. They've been waiting so patiently out in the audience. Welcome back.
Yep.
Oh, look. It's Groundhog Day. See, I could just, I could jump, back a little bit. Notice they're not there. And, well, notice they're there now. They're not there. They're there. So, it's Groundhog Day.
All right. Well, how far ahead are we going to jump? And
we need to go on through. So, here's the deal, because there's a lot more here. And look, you can go to YouTube and watch the rest of the meeting. It's getting to be about 8:15, and we've got a lot to cover in the city council meeting. I do want to show one thing. So Cassie got up and was doing some comments. This is about the 1 hour and 1 minute mark. So Cassie was making her comments. Watch this exchange here.
I love the city, or else I would not have come back. Thank you for texting during my comments. I appreciate it.
Listen up.
Taking notes.
Any other comment from the audience?
Listen to this. First, she's taking notes.
1835 Glen Cove. You said she was taking notes.
Listen up.
Thank you. Got it.
Grocery list.
I didn't say anything.
She's such a smart ass. I mean, I'm a smart ass too, so I know a smart ass when I see one.
She was taking notes on her, so when she was texting, she was taking notes.
Right.
So
she was texting notes out to these ladies.
Was she? Or was she taking,
Probably
texting
so.
notes to somebody? I mean, who was she? Well, I mean, I guess we're going to have to find that out. What do y'all think the likelihood of us finding out the notes that she was texting, that we'll get them?
Well, remember this, there was a public information request for those records, and Richard Ray, the attorney, not really the attorney, assistant attorney, not really ex officio member, all that, did refuse to turn over those records, and did it without actually notifying, I think, the princess, and was it Vicky or Sandra, because they were actually a little surprised in the one meeting. So anyway, all right. So here's where we ended up with this. They voted to send the Charter Commission amendments and all that to the city council. Fast forward, that information was sent to the city council, who got it today, and that sets up the meeting, literally today or earlier, that sets up the meeting for the city council. Okay? So they voted to do the, term limits, no retroactivity, all that hullabaloo that we've covered before. They had to go back and do a Groundhog Day redo in this meeting to be able to send that stuff to the city council. This meeting was Friday. Jump forward to today, and the city council meeting we're about to show as I switch screens and get over there.
Exactly, Rusty Maddox. And there was one part in there, like, I made comment to, I think it was Miss Wilhite. I mean, she was yawning as I was talking. They could care less. And I said it doesn't matter. I know that. But the reason a lot of us, we know that they're not listening to anything that anybody from the public, they could care less what any of us say. I mean, just, it is what it is. But the reason we're going up there and doing it is for all of y'all watching. We're going up there to make these arguments so that you can see yourself the total disregard for all of you.
Yeah, it's for full transparency. We're literally, all of us that are commenting, every one of us, including Mr. Maddox, Cassie, Wes, Miss Alice, everybody, it's to shine that light on what's really going on at this meeting and have some sort of public record of it. Okay, so I'm jumping forward to the city council meeting from today. So remember, that meeting we were just watching was Friday afternoon. This meeting was today's city council meeting. And they had a little bit of a dog and pony show, shall we say. And I gotta say, Vicky got a little feisty here in her little soliloquy. Shall we play that? All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
How are you, gentlemen? So 10 months ago, you gathered us together to, what we were told, to study the existing charter and to make recommendations to bring it up to date and to perhaps help the government function a little better. And so we have conducted town halls, we have had workshops, and we've had meetings here. We have compared and studied and compromised on different issues so that we could complete this task for y'all. When we started, little did we know the obstacles that we would endure. It has not been pleasant, but we have endured, and we think that what we have presented to y'all is a charter recommendations that are fair. They allow for term limits to be voted on, term limits that same used by the state. They're legally tested and proven, and it sets up new departments for y'all, such as an IT department. It makes changes to departments that are already existing, and it allows you to move forward faster in your procedures. So in ending, I would like to say that I want to thank our past members, our new members who joined us, and to the core members who stuck by through thick and thin and hell.
Thick and thin and hell.
And so I'm through, and I hope that the voters will look at this charter and seriously consider it, because it is a definite improvement.
I hate to say it, Vicki, but you might not be through. Might be Groundhog Day again before too much longer.
Oh no, they're through. They went to the city council to turn all of their work over with. They're done. They're over with.
Well, not if the Attorney General's office orders them otherwise. If the last meeting gets invalidated, I hate to say it, gonna be Groundhog Day again.
Look, I'm no lawyer, and all the legal smeagles out there could chime in, but they've walked up there to the council, and if they come back and say that their meetings were out of order at this point, I don't know that they can come back and reconvene now that they've went to the city council. I think that could be contested.
Could be. All right, here we go.
To any of my other fellow colleagues.
So I'm Sandra Moorhart. I live at 1317 Whitehall Drive. I have been present through all of the different meetings. As Vicki said, we had 3 town halls, 3 workshop meetings, and 18 meetings, in which many of those we interacted with the department heads of the city. We listened to them. We listened to many individuals. We also all committed to individual hours of study and research time and many robust, and when I say robust discussions, they were with all commission members. So through all of this, I looked at our commission members, and I was really honored to serve with the diverse experience and the education and the expertise that we had. It was amazing how I looked at us and I felt like we represented the city of Bossier City. We were mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, a nurse practitioner, an attorney, 2 seasoned, long-term Bossier City small business owners, a nonprofit executive, community leader, pastor, retired military, a wealth manager, a business executive manager in real estate, oil and gas, and property management, and a corporate finance and operations manager for the Fortune 500 company I work for. So all of us have been leaders in various political groups, community groups, and our churches.
The leader of the pack.
We live and work in Bossier City, and we are Bossier City citizens. And we believe we took all of that into consideration when we developed what we believe is a governmental framework for Bossier City to succeed. So I ask each of you and you, Mayor Chandler, to accept and support this collaborative compilation of work from a committed group of citizens, Bossier City citizens. We took it seriously. We feel like the revised charter is reflective of all of us coming together, and we feel like it will benefit Bossier City. And thank you for letting me serve.
Thank you, Ms. Sandra.
Well, check your text message, and you want to tap on that picture and look at it closely. If you didn't already know. All right, here we go. Talking to Duke. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
Come on now.
Makes sense now?
Let me say, Mr. President, I'm just
all right.
guessing.
I don't know. Do we want to go through all this gushing and then Jeter had to get up there and he made some 10-minute speech? Do we want to listen to all that?
No, I don't think so. But I think we do want to listen to Darby. I think we need to hear.
Okay, here we go.
The most difficult part or controversial was the term limits.
Correct.
I can say without reservations, I looked at the revision you made, and I applaud you
hit the
for
buzzer.
doing the due diligence to do it the right way.
Thank you.
And I really do appreciate that, because before now, I never felt like it was the right way. But I definitely feel like this is the right way. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I do feel like it is the fair way to do it without
Okay.
targeting out.
The fair way to do it.
The fair way to do it. So what they're saying is that by citizen initiative, that's an improper way to express policy, but a government-aided approach is the proper way. And
Oh, yes.
presto, now he supports term limits.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that.
I mean,
Well,
just
and
like
that's
that.
that's the deal, is they're going to try to rebrand this and market this as, oh, we passed term limits. The city council finally did it. They finally passed term limits, and that's what they're going to run with. That's the easy narrative.
But I want to point out another contradiction here, Rex, and I don't think that we played it, but in the beginning of this, I think a question was asked about maybe when would they get the revisions, to which they said, I think even Vicki Whitman says, or maybe she says it here in a minute, but she says, well, you'll get them after the meeting. And
Right. Yes.
the point is they quote unquote don't have them yet. They don't have them.
Right.
But
let's listen, because I think that dialogue's coming up here in about 20 seconds.
But what Darby just said,
Mm-hmm.
somehow he knew exactly what the language of the term limits was at this moment. My point being,
it's a little suspect.
What we have said, of the whole reason they even had the Charter Commission was to try to defeat term limits. They're basically acknowledging it. He has what the term limits propositions that they're trying to put forward is. That's all he cared about. He's seen the language of it. That's the whole purpose of all of it. He's acknowledging it.
Yeah.
And he's going to vote on the other crap, and he doesn't even know what it says.
Yeah. The rest of it, as we've said ad nauseum on the show, the whole reason the Charter Commission was put in place was because of term limits. And you pointed it out. I think, was it Smith or Hammonds, or both of them, tried to get a Charter Commission going at the beginning of their terms when they got in office. And I mean, it was like crickets with the rest of the city council.
It was in that last Charter Commission meeting. I pointed out and I told all of those Charter Commission, the only reason you're sitting here today, and Shane Cheatham said it, and it was exactly right. The only reason there's a Charter Commission meeting is because they wanted to defeat term limits. And all you have to do is look at the beginning of these last terms of the mayor and the council, when Brian Hammonds and Chris Smith tried to put forward a Charter Commission, and all the graybeards, as Jeff Sadow, eloquently coins them, would have no part of it. They didn't want nothing to do with it.
That's right. It's I don't know. It's a follow the bouncing ball. It's a shell game, whatever you want to call it, that they're trying to manipulate you, the public. The only thing standing in their way is everybody being educated on this. And, you folks that are watching and listening, sharing this information out, whether you share our show or you just talk about it to your friends, that's how we defeat all this, is letting everybody know what's really going on. All right, let's listen on for another minute or two.
Individuals. I think we have enough targeting going on in our government nowadays, so why put it locally? So it will be up to the citizens to either accept it or reject it, and I hope they will accept it, because, our biggest threat today is not somebody dropping a bomb on us, but it's a cyber attack. It's somebody dropping fentanyl in your water supply. And in the charter, we made provisions for these departments, to protect our city and for y'all to move faster. So we'll see what happens with it. But I thank you all very much.
Ms. Vicki, when
Here we go. Listen up.
And yes.
A few minutes, okay.
Yes. And also, while I'm standing here, Richard Ray, thank you so much. It's been tough going. And
thanks for all the entertainment, Richard.
So anyway, anything?
Did y'all hear that, though? That was Bubba Don asking her when they get a copy, and she said here in a few minutes. So the city council literally doesn't have a copy.
Yeah. I want to correct something in the comments. Cassie said, let's remember Sandra, a.k.a. the secretary of the commission, was appointed by Darby. That's incorrect. Darby did not appoint Sandra Morehart. Darby appointed Pandarina Sumas, who was replaced by one of the commissioners, unknown which one, as they did them in totality at one time, but that was not Sandra Moore. I think if I recall correctly, it was either Councilman Montgomery or Bubba Williams appointed Sandra Moorhart.
Yeah, I could go look it up real quick. Hold on. Here we go. Members.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Sandra was appointed by Don Williams, by Bubba Don. Sandra was appointed by Bubba Don. Pandarima was appointed by Jeff Darby. I got the list right here. All right. Here we go. Not a big deal, Cassie, just to make sure that we have it kind of correct. All right. I don't even know where we are in the.
Yeah. So they didn't have what they're fixing to vote on. They don't have it yet. So they go through this meeting voting on all this, and they don't have it.
Right.
Now Darby somehow has the term limits language. He has that, but these councilmen are fixing to vote on all this, and they haven't even read it.
All right, so
Now,
let's listen to. I'm going to jump ahead to the 15-minute mark. I'm going to skip over Jeter's talking about ethics and integrity because he has none. So how can he actually talk about it with authority?
That's rich. That is rich. And I had a message. I had a message, and I saw in the comments a while ago. Somebody says that the city donates property to his nonprofit.
Oh, well, then let's listen to Mr. Jeter's ethics and integrity.
Well, no. Well, if you want to, I mean, he's long-winded here. I don't want to give him any air. I mean, because look, he gets a benefit just like some of the other ones. I mean, there's no point.
I agree.
What ethics and integrity is he going to tell me? I've heard all I need to hear. I don't need to hear. I'm getting mad about this.
Yeah, let's skip ahead to Richard Ray's jargon. Here we go.
And I just wanted to inform the council and the mayor and that you do have today as a proposed add-on. There's two items that are proposed add-ons to the agenda.
Listen closely.
And that would be the resolution and the ordinance that would send to the bond commission for their review and consideration the items to be placed on the December 7th ballot. Mr. Jacobson and I have worked with outside counsel throughout this process and apologize for having to do it as an add-on, but number one, the last meeting of the Charter Commission was Friday at 1 p.m. after the agenda had already been published. And then the other issue is we really just got word this morning that there is still an opportunity probably to get on the December 7th ballot.
I just got word this morning. It's last minute, late breaking news. I'm calling BS again.
I got to call BS on that one too. They've been jumping through hoops to get this rushed at lightning speed so that they could end up at this council meeting right here. And they just found out this morning that there's still time for them to get it to the bond commission.
Yeah, that's a lie, Richard. Right?
Do y'all believe that? I'm struggling with that one just a little bit, but still listen close to the words that he uses to describe the resolution and the ordinance. There's two different things here. Let me frame it up for y'all. To get it on the bond commission agenda, you have to send a resolution to the bond commission from the city. Then it additionally has to be voted on by ordinance twice, but that resolution only takes one vote and it's got to go to them.
Right.
And there's a deadline to get it to them.
Yeah, resolutions require one vote or one reading and vote. Ordinances require two readings and votes. Okay. Yeah, so here we go.
And if we can present it to the bond commission for their consideration, we felt it was appropriate to allow the council to have that opportunity should you want to do that. So it is two items. It's a resolution and an ordinance. And what would go to the voters in December would be the amended and restated charter, which is the charter that the commission has worked since January.
All right.
And to work through.
Put on the brakes.
What would go to the voters is the amended and restated charter. So what you guys would be voting on is not a amendment of the charter, but a completely new charter.
Which is,
And that is it.
he did allude to that, or not. There was discussion on that in one of the first early meetings. I can't remember which one it was.
He's talked about that a long time, because there's two ways on charter amendments. Historically in Bossier, the way they have done it is they've sent for a total new charter. But, in statute, again, open meeting laws, statute, city, whatever we're working on here, I don't know, depends. But there's two ways. One is by adopting a completely new charter, or by amendment of certain parts of the existing charter. Well, he just delineated right there clearly that what this proposal is a completely new charter. That's what he just said.
Right.
So let him keep talking.
Okay, here we go.
Through proposed changes, and they've worked tirelessly and have done a really good
tirelessly.
job of working together. And that is there's some members that weren't on it when we finished, but those people also worked hard, and I'd like to thank them for their efforts as well. But everybody that has been a part of this, down to the department heads, each of you, I've met with each of you in the beginning to go through things, and the mayor, we've met on multiple occasions on what were proposed changes. And the process, it's just like any process through the legislative process. It's not always pretty, but people can come together and work together for the betterment of our city. And I think that what is proposed is good, but the really good thing is, it's not y'all's decision to make. You put it to the voters and you let them decide. And I know that there's going to be some questions or some issues about, well, this doesn't impede in any way any other effort, the court system.
Okay,
whatever. But
all right, we need to
this
pause.
way-
Hold the horse. Whoops.
I want to point out what he just said. This in no way impedes any other effort. Well, that's BS. That's BS. Well, let's keep going, but I'm calling it out as it happens right here.
Okay, here we go.
Members of Bossier City will be able to evaluate a new charter that hasn't been done in 20 years.
Evaluate a new charter. The citizens of Bossier will be able to evaluate a new charter. Now, Rex,
not amendments to the charter, a new charter.
So riddle me this, y'all. If y'all are following along to the 2 points we just stopped and we just made on the words he's using, the public will get to vote on a new charter. So let's say that if the Charter Commission or the good old boys or whoever are able to get this charter thing that they're trying right now on the ballot before the term limits petition that's tied up in the Second Circuit is dealt with, and the people vote and approve the new charter. Well, let's say that happens, and then the Second Circuit, they were able to get this on this December ballot. People vote on it and they approve it. And then the Second Circuit approves the people's petition, and then it would go on the March spring municipal ballot. But you know what? Guess what? It wouldn't go on the March spring ballot. You know why?
Oh, do tell.
Because that was an amendment to the previous charter.
Ding,
it
ding,
doesn't
ding, ding,
apply
ding,
to the newly adopted charter. That was the way that they were seeking to use the Charter Commission to kill the people's petition the first place. Adopt a new charter. The attempt, the people's petition would be null and void because it was an attempt to amend an old charter that's no longer an adopted charter.
Yeah. And that is
does
the whole
everybody
play.
follow that?
The petition that's been done twice now would have no bearing on this new charter because it is a petition to amend the existing charter. If that new charter gets voted in, that'll be it, and the new petition that's in the Second Circuit becomes a moot point. Right?
And that's exactly right. And Miss Whitman, Sandra Morehart, every one of them, they all know that.
Yes,
they all know that. So
why do you think they're trying to rush?
Exactly. They know that, and so do those councilmen. But let's let Richard keep talking.
Oh yeah.
Years, and they'll either adopt it or they won't, and then they'll have an opportunity to vote on term limits for the council and the mayor, and they'll either adopt those or they won't. But if they, the great thing about how the Charter Commission is sending it to you, and I think the way it's be sent to the voters, is that even if they don't adopt the new charter, which I hope they do, but even if they don't, they have an opportunity on term limits to vote on that, and it would either amend the existing 2005 charter, or it would amend the charter that's in what'll be Proposition 1. So the voters will get to choose whether they.
Now,
word salad.
He's saying that it would, he just delineated it right there for folks. He just said the second proposition, the first proposition would be to adopt a whole new charter. Then there's a second petition that would be to amend their term limits to amend the old charter. But then he just said that it could be to amend the new charter. No, that's not how that's going to work. I can tell you how that's going to work. They'll end up saying, oh, well, that second proposition is not valid because it was an amendment to the old charter. We just adopted a whole new charter. The same death cut for the people's petition is the same cut they're going to use to kill their supposed newfound love for term limits in Bossier City. That's how they're going to cut it. They're going to kill it right there. They have no intentions of adopting any form of term limits, none whatsoever. And this is a parlor trick, as you described in one of the things. Richard Ray knows it. I mean, it's clear as day. Hopefully y'all can see it too.
All right. So another question from Miss Jerry. She says, got it. So the charter members need more public pressure for ethical complaints from us. That is one tactic. It's the Groundhog Day tactic. And that tactic is pretty simple. Ethical complaints and complain to the AG about the most recent open meetings law violations at the Friday meeting. You got 60 days to complain about those, so you don't have to get in too big a hurry because that would reset them back to that same meeting, which would throw all this into disarray as well, which I probably just said too much for the powers that be out there and the good old boys, but they already know that.
Yeah, and Jeff Sadow, his comment right there, he's dead on the mark, and this kind of goes back to the beginning. And Ray has Ray's been telegraphing all of this and his intent and the way he was steering this thing from the whole beginning. But now he's just saying it out loud. But you've got to be listening to the words and listening closely.
Yeah, he had no choice. He had to say it out loud, but he's parsing his words carefully because, as he tells us often, words matter.
So
all right.
Let's hear more.
Okay. I'll hit play. Here we go.
They want this new charter or not, and they'll get to choose whether they want term limits or not. And that's what democracy is all about. Let them have.
That's what democracy is about.
We'd like to ask the bond commission to consider putting it on for December 7th if we still have time to do that. And that's why these items would be as add-ons, and I'm just giving you that explanation. So
now listen up.
This would require 2 votes.
Well, it's 2 votes because there's a resolution and an ordinance. You're talking about to add it to the agenda?
No, to get it to the bond commission, that requires 2 votes.
I'm not understanding the question.
It's just a require 2 hearings. The bond commission.
Oh, well, the resolution today would be to call for the election. And then there's an ordinance process. And so the ordinance would be introduced today, and then the second reading would be at the next meeting. But as long as the resolution calling for the election is passed today, then the bond commission has an ad hoc meeting prior to the Secretary of State finalizing the ballot for December the 7th. So the key date would be that if, it's y'all's prerogative to do whatever you want to do, but if you don't add on the resolution and the ordinance and pass at least the resolution and that first reading of the ordinance, then we won't be able to make the December 7th ballot. Because there's not enough time to get on the ad hoc meeting. So it's
all right. I'm going to pause it right there because that's a lot of word salad. Here's the deal. You heard him say that to pass the resolution requires 1 reading and 1 vote. To pass the second part of this equation, the ordinance, that requires 2 readings and 2 votes. But first, they have to vote to add it to the agenda today because it wasn't already on the agenda because they had to do the Groundhog Day meeting Friday. So that's an important distinction. To even get it on the agenda for the city council today to vote to send to the bond commission, they've got to vote unanimously to add it to the agenda today. All right, everybody up to speed? Stay with the bouncing ball here. Here we go.
It's 2 votes because it's a resolution and an ordinance.
And you just said something a second ago. You said, we don't vote on it. We just.
That's correct. You're just sending it to the voters. You're voting to put it on the December 7th ballot and allow the voters to vote on it.
Because 21.01 of the charter says city council shall submit this amendment to the people. Just like 5.01 says city council shall submit petitions to the people.
Well,
It's the same process?
When you send it, right, you have to send it, but if you don't send it today, you won't make December 7th. It'll be sent some other day.
I'm just making sure that the language is the same in those 2 chapters. Shall.
I believe
Important word.
It is.
Okay, stop. Did y'all catch? Were y'all paying attention? Play that exchange again, and I want everybody to listen close. Y'all listen to it again.
All right, here we go.
Y'all think about the words being used here and in the context of what they're trying to do with the Charter Commission amendments and what they did with the People's Petition.
Send it, right. You have to send it, but if you don't send it today, you won't make December 7th. It'll be sent some other day.
I'm just making sure that the language is the same in those 2 chapters. Shall.
I believe it is.
It is.
Shall.
Any other questions?
Yeah, do we know what the special election is going to cost?
And so Hammond's, let's see, where are we at? The 21-minute mark. I think this is where Hammond's. But anyway, let's listen.
The taxpayers of Bossier City?
Yes, Councilman Hammond, it's on there. It's the same estimate. It's $14,400 or whatever it is. It's at the bottom of one of those. It's on the proposed. Yeah, and it's part of the application, but it's, yeah.
And we've totally missed it for the November. There's no way the bond commission can.
No, that's correct. There's ballots have already been printed and mailed and sent in for November.
Oh, well, that's no big deal. I mean, everybody else just fills out the one.
Yeah, that deadline was.
Okay.
I think that deadline was April. Yeah, April 17th, I think, from memory. So it's long gone, but. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you, Richard, for your work on that thing. I know you've been here a long time and met many meetings with them, so I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, it's, in my job and just, I'm used to people saying things about me and, I got thick skin. I really commend these citizens that got to experience some of that. But it's okay. That's what, they're all, they're all courageous.
He wasn't talking about us.
Worked in any capacity.
I thought he was talking about all the people that were supporting the petition. Oh, good grief. No,
all those tireless fellow citizens of yours that were up there making your city better while they were railroading the term limits that we all signed the petition for. All right, let me see where we're at.
I feel like we're missing something here. Let's keep playing here and speed it up fast.
Yeah, I've got it on 1.125. Let's go up to 1.5. Here we go.
So, thank y'all.
Thank you, Richard. All right, where's the young lady that are?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're going to skip that. Let's get to the vote. Now, here we go. Well, let's just play this and show the vote. So, remember, this is the vote to add the resolution to the agenda today so that they could vote on the resolution. This is a vote to add it to the agenda.
Has to be a unanimous vote.
Ordering and calling a special election to be held in the city of Bossier City, state of Louisiana, to vote upon the adoption of amendments to the current city charter of the city of Bossier City, making application to the State Bond Commission, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. And this item is being requested due to the Bond Commission deadline. It's a first and final reading, and it's being requested by Mr. Ray and the Charter Commission.
Mr. President, I make the motion to add under new business item 16.
I'll second that. All right, Council, any questions on that? Any questions from the audience? All right.
Let's vote.
Here we go.
Oh, we got Cassie up.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor. Putting this on the agenda sounds great in theory. However, where is the term limits petition ordinance? Did we forget about it?
Good question, Cassie.
Hundreds and hundreds of people participated in the Charter Commission. Richard Ray recognized that they did and said it was a cool process for us. But some of us also spent countless hours, not to block what was happening, but to make sure that these 2 petitions that were signed and certified by the Register of Voters were acknowledged. And not a single acknowledgement for the hundreds of citizens that participated in this process as well. Shame on y'all. We all have jobs, we all have things too. But we tried to also make our city better. And for y'all to block the people's petition continuously shows us exactly who you are.
Ooh.
Do the right thing today. If you're going to put one on the agenda, put the other one on the agenda. Let them go to the bond commission. Because like Chris Smith just said, it's shall. You shall do it. Let's do our jobs today, guys. Thank you.
And I got to say, Cassie has definitely upped her game in her commentary and delivery. She was on point.
She is coming on strong. I mean, I am proud of Cassie. She is one of the citizens that have stepped up and taken charge and wanting to make her community better. And I would say shame on all of those commissioners sitting right there, and shame on the council that are just ignoring people like her. I mean, that's one of your constituents right there, and you are just ignoring them.
Yep. All right. So next up is Robert Wright. He asked an interesting question that honestly I had forgotten about. So let's hear that. And then we're going to get to somebody getting kicked out of the meeting. So y'all want to text your friends and say, hey, check back in on the show, because you're going to get to see somebody being escorted out by the city marshals. Here we go. Robert Wright on tap first.
Yes, sir. My name is Robert Wright. I live at 6307 West Oxbow Circle. Question or two, and you may not know the answer to this. On the council members at large, are we going to have an A and B district? Is that right? That's what I've heard.
I haven't seen the revisions of the charter, so I couldn't tell you.
I can't hear him.
I haven't seen the revisions of the charter, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so y'all
there again.
won't be able to answer.
There again. Another councilman saying, I haven't seen the charter revisions. They're voting on something they hadn't even seen it.
They hadn't even read it. Don't worry about that. Just vote on it and then you can read it.
Do you know that, Richard? I heard that too.
Yes, that's included in the amended and restated charter. And Councilman Smith, that's the most recent version is on the website. It's been there for probably about a month, maybe more. The last one, I think it's the September 12th version. It's available on the website.
Okay.
There'll be a red line version that goes to the bond commission that we'll also put up there, but it's all of the verbiage is in that September 12th version. But there will be in the proposed charter, the at-large districts they'll still be the entire city, but they would be at-large District A and at-large District B. So it would be, everybody wouldn't run against each other in one election. People would qualify for either A or B, but they would still, the winner, there'd be 2 that would represent the entire city.
Other question I would ask is the term limits, and I'm sure Mr. Ray can answer this for us. Are the term limits on this thing, are they retroactive or not for the new charter?
I think the Charter Commission, they're not retroactive, are they, Richard?
So it's not retroactive, or it is?
It's not.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, council.
Mr. Wright.
Here we go. All right.
Bubba knew. Apparently, he was paying attention.
Yeah, he was paying it. He probably went to the website and downloaded it and watched all the Charter Commission meetings, being the great city councilman that he is for so long. All right, folks. Here we go. Drum roll, please. You need to pay close attention to this.
I'd like to know this time that I'm not going to be dismissed on my questions about the agenda. I also agree with some of the other.
Name and address, please.
Alice Boyer, 5041 Highway 80, Haughton, Louisiana. I'm glad to see that
I
there's a
want you to-
possibility
I want
of
you
some
to
agenda
stop.
items being changed.
All right. Sorry, Miss Alice, we're going to interrupt you for a second.
Well, I want all of you to know, you need to realize this moment right here, right now, with what they do to Miss Boyer here. I want you to know that the possibility of a lawsuit is very possible here, and rightly so, because what happens here is pretty damn egregious. We're at the point of the meeting, we're talking about the agenda, okay? And what's on the agenda and what's not on the agenda. And every citizen in this country, I mean, has the right to petition their government, the right, to bring their grievances. That's why you have meetings. That's why you have these things. And right here, right now, she's bringing something, and they squash her like a bug. Now there's another little part, but I'm not going to say it. I'm going to hold on to it because in the event that they get their asses sued to hell and back, it's going to be pertinent, and I will share it at that point. But anyway, go
All
right
right,
ahead.
here we go. And Miss Alice is in the commentary, so here we go.
On here, because I agree with the fact that I think it's a great idea that this gets approved and added to the agenda, but the other item that the citizens put through needs to be added to the agenda also. It should have been added previously. The other thing that needs to be added to the agenda is this situation that involves the community, the support that is being given to the United Nations in the form of a refugee.
Ms. Boyer,
I am
no,
not going to have my
we're
speech.
not talking about that. That's not on our agenda
It needs to
nowhere.
be on the agenda. It needs to be on the agenda.
We're
It says
not-
2025. It's the United Nations, and you're sitting there and you have a councilman that has put this up as a possibility for regurgitated money from the.
Boyer,
No,
we're not talking about it.
it needs to be discussed. You need to explain to the people that if I'm wrong, explain to them how I'm wrong. Explain to them how this is not going to happen. Explain how this is not going to happen.
I'm just going to ask you to sit down, okay? I'm going to ask you nicely to sit down.
Now, I'm going to pause it right there for just a second, and then we're going to play it on through. What she is saying is germane to the discussion on the agenda. She is asking why something else can't be added to the agenda. So keep that in mind, folks.
Well, and they're talking about the agenda and adding and removing things from the agenda. A citizen wanting to redress their grievance with government, about an issue that needs to be on the agenda, but they're shutting her down, not even allowing her to raise the issue for them to say why it shouldn't be on the agenda, or why they won't add it to the agenda, or why they won't consider it, or that they're. I'm wondering if they're not complicit. All of them complicit in it.
That's a very good question. All right, here we
And
go.
they're trying to hide it from the public.
Here we go. Hold on to your seatbelts, folks.
You're going to interrupt my 3 minutes and me pointing out some important
about that,
factors on
we
this
are.
situation. You all want to sit us down about our term limits. Y'all have shut us down by this coalition anyway.
Okay, now
So
you-
why is there not going to be equal handling? And why do you want to shut me down again when this is important about the safety and the welfare of our community?
This is your second time. I'm going to ask you to sit down again, okay?
And is my 3 minutes up? No, not yet, sir.
But you're not going to sit there and scream and holler. We're not going to talk about what you want to talk about.
Okay, I'm going to calm my voice down.
And we're still not going to talk about that. I appreciate you calming
You
your
don't
voice
think,
down.
well, you don't think that the people want to know about this?
If you know about it, I'm sure everybody knows about it.
No, I doubt that, and I think it needs to be discussed publicly.
Well, then go
And
have
y'all
a meeting
need
in your neighborhood,
this
discuss
co-
it publicly.
It says "we." Does this council, is this council involved in it? It says "we," sir.
That don't mean nothing.
The words are clear all through this letter. We.
Okay, so, listen. Sure. I'm asking you to sit down nicely, and next time.
You're not asking me
next time
nicely,
we'll have
and
you
you're disregarding
escorted-
me again.
Next time, we'll have you escorted out.
Is my time up, sir?
It don't matter. I'm
You're
telling you to sit
denying
down.
me my First Amendment right to speak about something that is of concern to this community?
Marshall, could you just come escort her out, please?
Here we go.
Are you going to arrest me, sir?
We're not going to arrest you, we're just going to escort you out of the building, that's all.
I will walk out.
Wow.
Is he not going to let her walk out?
Now, I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. All the stuff we have said at meetings, and we didn't get an escort out.
She has achieved a level that I envy.
It's either infamy status or famous. She famous, infamous. Cheers to Miss Alice.
So, to all of you, you haven't heard what it is she was talking about and why she was raising the issue. So, Rex, I think we have the cuts.
Yes,
It'll
we
be the
do.
copy, page 1 and page 2, and we talked about this. We I hate to say broke the news on this, and it was by way of our friends with LeCag, and they brought it to our attention because they were researching it on some politicians down out of South Louisiana, and they came across this in Bossier City. So again, credit goes to LeCag. Y'all look them up on Facebook, and I'm not actually looking at it. So if you want to take over and
Yeah, and we've discussed this before. It's posted on the Bossier Watch Facebook page, but this was a letter sent to, I hate to say President Joe Biden, but to President Joe Biden on September 12th. It was signed by, at that point, 477 bipartisan state and local elected officials welcoming refugees, where they say, and I quote in the yellow highlight, "We write today to express our strong support for welcoming and resettling refugees in the United States," so on and so forth. "We affirm our commitment to safeguarding U.S. RAP and American values of welcoming people seeking safety. As many communities struggle with labor shortages in key professions like teachers, nurses, and doctors, refugees have a critical role to play in filling staffing gaps." And let me switch pages here. "Our communities stand ready to welcome refugees who want to restart their lives in safety. We call on you to protect our nation's standing as a leader in welcoming refugees by ensuring the refugee resettlement program is resource robust and sustainable for years to come. Sincerely," signed by 477 other people, maybe more than that now, including none other than, who is it from Louisiana? Jeffrey Darby, council member from Bossier City. That's what Miss Alice was asking about, why that wasn't on the agenda.
So, and why will they not answer the question if "we" means that means the whole city of Bossier City? Is Bubba Williams wanting to open Bossier City up to be the refugee capital of the nation? Is he one of the "we"? Who exactly is "we"?
Not just that, it's not signed Jeffrey Darby, citizen of Bossier City. Jeffrey Darby signed on or filled out whatever form to attach his name as a council member. He's recognized on this letter as a council member. We didn't make this up. You can go to their website. We've shown it before. I'll put a link in the comments later. We're not making this up. This is literally on their website still.
Well, as Richard Ray has said in the past, I think words matter. And, "we" is definitely in here countless times. I mean, and is Jeffrey Darby the representative of Bossier City on this? That needs to be delineated. And if it's the intent of Bossier City to, support and encourage more refugees, migrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, it's a fair question. It's a germane question, a matter of public concern. But, oh, by the way, that's not matters of public concern to these councilmen are not nothing new. They have a long and storied history of ignoring matters of public concern and safety to the citizens of Bossier City. I mean, look at your police department right now. They're ignoring, but oh, wait a minute, they had a meeting and they have a plan for that, but they have a long history of ignoring matters of public concern. But in this case right here, Ms. Boyer had a valid issue that she brought to the front. Bubba Williams, as the chairman of the Bossier City Council, they violated, her constitutional rights and denied her rights. And I'm going to stop right there. But that's
news flash for Bubba Don. Here's how you should have handled that. You should have allowed Miss Alice to say her piece. You could have cordially addressed her and said, "We appreciate your comments. Would you please reach out to your city councilman and maybe the city councilman at large and try to get that on the agenda, and we'll be glad to discuss it at a future meeting." End of story. That's all you had to do, Bubba Don. Instead, now you have the optic of the marshals escorting Miss Alice out for exercising your First Amendment rights about something that was germane to the topic at hand, which was the agenda and what was on it or not on it.
Okay, so for all of you watching, you need to share my screen, Rex, if you remember how to do that. So for all of you watching, I just want to give y'all heads up. This video was made in Springfield, Ohio, where Haitians are not out in the yard with a machete cutting up people's dogs and cats. But this is what apparently the Bossier City Council don't want to. They don't want to state whether or not this is what they're wanting to bring to Bossier City.
Well, we're getting deplatformed now.
I guess there's federal money laying out there that they're going to try to get to bail out from the debt and out of the hole. But
yeah. Well, remember, folks, this is not happening. You are not seeing this right here.
Yes.
Coming to Bossier City soon near you.
So I'm just saying, if you value your dog or your cat, y'all need to keep a close eye on them, because Councilman Darby apparently he has an interest in them.
Yeah. He's coming for your cats and dogs.
Indirectly.
Yeah, indirectly. All right. So that is Miss Alice getting escorted out. And I agree with Wes. Shame on the deputy marshals. I mean, I know they're doing their job. They just want to make their paycheck and go home to their families. But you guys took an oath. She was not being disruptive. She was still within her time frame. Now, if her 3 minutes were up and she just flat out refused to leave and tried to do a sit-in up there at the podium, I could see the deputies escorting her out. But that's not what she was doing.
Yep. So let's keep going. I hope she hands them their hat there, and we'll see what happens there.
Let's
because they're not going to stop.
Oh,
they're going to keep stepping on people until the public. Till the public steps up. They're just going to keep doing it to people.
Like Holly Cole says, how many charter members were smiling when they took her out? All right, let's jump forward to Brian Hammonds. This is pretty good. Here we go.
I have a question, Mr. President. And y'all can, the attorneys that have more degrees than me can tell me to stop if I can't talk about this. We are still in Second Court of Appeal, correct?
We are.
On that. So we're putting this in today. What is in the Second Court of Appeal, does that, whichever way it comes back, does it override what we are putting in today?
Well, my understanding, Councilman Hammonds, is that the Second Circuit Court of Appeal has this item docketed for their November docket.
Mm-hmm.
That November docket is the week of November the 18th. That's during early voting for the December 7th election. The Second Circuit would not have a decision on it until after they have it on their docketed week. So there's not going to be a decision on the lawsuit of Ms. Rogers until after the December 7th election, or at least until after that election had started. So the people's petition, as it's been called, and that's what I think it was called in the court hearing, I was there, is still viable and could be adopted at a later date in a later election. And so the people could reject this charter altogether. They could adopt this charter altogether. They could adopt this version of term limits. They could reject this version of term limits. When that court case resolves, a court's either going to send it back to y'all and tell you to put it on a ballot, or they're not. But if they do, it'll have to be on a ballot after December 7th. But that's all the more reason to go ahead and have this amended and restated charter put to the people now, so that there's not an issue with the charter being after any proposal for term limits.
I got to give him a little bit of credit. He said all that with a straight face.
He did say that with a straight face, and did everybody catch what he was saying? He's saying exactly, the new and amended charter, and if they come back later, you put the old thing on there. I mean, he's saying it right there. The people's petition, if you send this to the ballot in December and you get this passed, that's how you kill the people's petition. That's it.
Yeah. He knows that. He was parsing his words carefully again.
This was the plan from the beginning. They've had this, and we said it in the beginning. Right. Shane Cheatham said it. They say it's not true, but they're all sitting there smug, and they all know it's the truth, but they're lying to everybody out there that, well, Richard's saying it, but he's just saying it in lawyer speak. And if you don't listen to the fine print and you don't think about the detail of the words he's using, I mean, I don't know. Is it clear to y'all? Do y'all hear it? You get it?
Are you getting what he's putting down there? And this goes into the definition of the good old boys. Yeah. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show, but this is a prime example of it.
Well, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Rusty Maddox and Jessica Maddox, they're going to have a battle at the house here. He's saying now it's an amended charter, and Jessica Lane, so is it an amended charter or a new charter? He's saying it's going to be a completely new charter.
New charter.
New charter.
He explicitly explained that in one of the Charter Commission meetings, and we made a point of it. I forget what show it was and which Charter Commission meeting, where the question was asked, and he said, no, this is a whole new charter. Remember, he explained that because one of them asked, well, what are you going to do, put the whole charter on the ballot? And he said, no, it'll refer to, thus and such ordinance or proposal to amend this new charter, or however he said it. I'm paraphrasing only slightly. He did a long dissertation about this several Charter Commission meetings ago. I'll see if I can go back and look it up later and post that.
But I can tell you the last two Charter Commission meetings and the motions that they made and voted on, I don't believe were for a totally new charter. What they've just submitted, me personally, I don't think is what they're saying they submitted is the same. And and Richard Ray even goes forward to say here in a minute, this is the exact same thing from the last two meetings. I don't know if I agree with that, but I have to go back and watch those last two meetings.
Right. Yeah. We may have to see if he's trying to run cover for it and get it rammed through, which we're sure he is probably. All right, here we go.
I understand both sides of what's going on, and it's no secret I was for term limits. I mean, I ran on that. 78% of my district was polled, and they agree with it. But what I don't agree with is what we're doing here when, yes, the citizens of Bossier City did speak by signing that petition. And I have to agree that it's a slap in the face to a lot of citizens that stood there, listened to the spiel, they signed it, they agreed with it. We're already paying for a special election for this to go on. Why don't we just hold off until after November when this is heard? The worst case scenario is that we have to wait until March when we're going to have an election anyway. Or call for another special election, before that.
Paging Richard Ray.
I think that every citizen in Bossier City has the right to speak, and they did by signing this petition. And by us doing this, on one, you know, I wish that we could have done this, you know, the simple way and not had to have, you know, had the Term Limits Coalition go out and have to get signatures and all that, where we all could have just agreed on term limits in here and been done with it, but we didn't. But they did. I agree with what the Charter Commission did. They came up with it. It was a hard battle. It was, you know, it was a ruthless battle. There was a lot of hurt feelings. There was a lot of stuff said that shouldn't have been said. You know, everybody is human. Everybody has different views on what is going on here. But I think that everybody has the right to vote for which one they want. They either can vote for the term limits, the way that it is set up through our state government, or they can vote on retroactivity. I do think both of them need to be on there.
Well, all I can speak to is the Charter Commission has sent you a version, and the council is obligated to send that to the voters. Whether you send it, if the only way that you'd be able to send it to the voters on November the 7th would be to add it to today's agenda and then pass the two items by affirmative vote. And so if you don't send it, if you don't pass it, add it to the agenda and pass it today, it won't be on the December 7th ballot, but it'll have to be on a future ballot.
But what you just said, I don't mean to interrupt you, what you just said, we're kind of going against what our charter already says. When they turned in their petition and everything was confirmed on their petition, our charter says we shall.
Well, but that
But we
version,
did
Councilman
not.
Hammonds, as you know, that version is in the court system right now. This one is not.
Well, we're not gonna talk about a lawsuit, we can't do that, but it's in the judge's hands, it's not in our hands.
Actually, you can right now drop the appeal, vote on it today, and it all can go to the ballot.
It's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
You don't have to have dropping it on the ballot.
It's not on the agenda.
I
Here,
would say,
Darby,
Mr.
it's not on
President,
the
rather than
agenda.
making more comment on this, we have to come back in just a minute and vote on the other item to be added, and there'll be an opportunity for public comment on that. So I would just ask that any public comment be on that other item.
We just keep following our agenda.
Follow the agenda, boys.
Councilman
They
Evans,
have
does
an
that
agenda,
answer your
all right.
question?
I'm
Oh,
good for
yeah.
right now.
Okay.
They have an agenda, no doubt.
All right. Shall we go to the vote and then go to the hot off the press information? Breaking news, folks. We have a response from Bubba Don.
Well, I mean, look, hat tip to Councilman Hammonds. Councilman Hammonds is not holding back. He's saying the quiet part out loud, and he deserves a lot of credit for where he's at on this. So
Yeah,
I say let's keep going.
All right, let's jump to the vote. So the motion to add it to the agenda failed. The motion to add the resolution to the agenda, let me make sure I say that right, failed 5-1. Brian Hammonds was the lone vote against that. Now, what name is over in that green 4 chart that I got to point out? I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that one particular councilman voted to add it to the agenda.
Yeah, as a matter of fact that he did, and I will say, when I saw that,
it ruffled my feathers a little.
I don't know how you want to handle this. I mean,
well, you want me to start? Maybe that'll soften the blow a little bit. Here's the deal. So
you do you and I'll do me.
Yeah. So here's my opinion on it. I have, full disclosure, I have not talked to Chris Smith about it. I did send Brian Hammonds a text after the vote and told him thank you or something to that effect, and which is public record. I don't care, whatever. So I saw this vote, and boy, I got livid for a few minutes because Chris voted with the good old boys to add this resolution to the agenda later on in this meeting. Now, it had to be unanimous, so Brian Hammonds was the lone vote that caused this to fail to be added to the agenda. But I got to thinking about it a little bit. And it didn't take me but just a few minutes of thinking after I saw that vote why. And if I were in Chris's position, I would have voted with Hammonds, honestly. But this thought would have crossed my mind as well. If he's going to be on principle, for doing what the charter and the law says for the term limits petition, well, by extension, the charter also says they shall do this with the Charter Commission, regardless of what I think about the Charter Commission and the circus. So I can see that I'm either going to guess he pushed the wrong button or he was trying to vote and stand on his principle. I got to say, that thought would have crossed my mind, but I would have been with Hammonds and voted against it just out of spite as an FU to the good old boys.
Well, here is, so I'm going to read it. So after I saw that this afternoon, I had a reaction just like you. What the hell is Chris Smith doing? And I sent him an email, and here's the email that I sent him. And I said, Councilman Smith, you voted to advance a charter commission proposal that is an affront to the people's petition and nothing more than a tool to delay, prevent, or stop the people's petition. Why? ? And he responded back in a lengthy email. So I'll read that. Duke, thank you for reaching out. And here's the thing. I wanted it in writing from him. I wanted to know. Here's what he said. He said, Duke, thank you for reaching out. I know my vote today may seem odd to some, so I appreciate the email to give me an opportunity to explain. My vote today does not change my stance on term limits. As you know, I have been a staunch supporter of term limits since the day I launched my campaign for office back in 2020, and I remain a supporter of term limits today. I could go into all the nuances of the changes in the charter that will help move our city forward, but I think your question is centered around the issue of term limits. First, the Charter Commission had the wisdom to have the issue of term limits on the ballot separate from the overall charter. Voters will have the option to vote either yes or no on the new charter with no mention of term limits, and then separately have a choice on whether term limits should or shouldn't be included in Bossier City. Secondly, the charter is clear on my role. Section 2104 of the city charter says the city council shall submit any amendment or amendments as recommended by the Charter Review Commission to the electors of the city. Note the key word shall. The Bossier Term Limits Coalition has sued the city of Bossier City and the city council for failing to follow the word shall. The basis of that lawsuit, as you know, is Section 501 of the charter that says the city council shall call an election to be held within 90 days thereafter. Of course, you know that 5 members of the council elected to not follow this law enshrined into our city's charter, resulting in the lawsuit filed by Ms. Rogers. Had I not followed the law in this case, I would have been just as guilty today as those 5 council members were then and continue to be today. In no way am I looking to thwart the will of the people, but I promised the people of Bossier City on day one that I would never compromise my morals or do something I felt to be unethical or illegal. Today's vote confirmed my beliefs and my morals that even when it's not popular, I will always stand for what's right and do the right thing. I look forward to our hearing in a few weeks at the 26th JDC and for the voters of Bossier City to have their voice heard.
Well, I don't know. What say you, Mr. Lowry? I've given my opinion on it. I'll cut him a little slack. And look, I've been, not so easy on Councilman Smith before. I'm cutting him a little slack, although I still don't agree with it.
Well, Ruth Pope Johnson, I think, took the words out of my mouth. All I can say is thank God for Councilman Brian Hammonds. Brian Hammonds deserves all the thanks and credit, that y'all out there feel inclined to give him. He deserves a hat tip because he saved the day here. Because and I already understand. I've already started getting messages and emails that councilmen not Hammonds and Chris Smith, but other councilmen and even the Charter Commission members are all saying they support term limits, and they're giving the people term limits. They're already out there trying to muddy the water and saying all that gibberish, in which
we called it.
know the truth. And I even think Chris Smith is wrong in his email here, where he's saying that, they're going to have it, he's wrong in his interpretation. It's not going to, it's going to, there's term limits isn't going to be here in the end. The only way they're doing everything in their power to prevent it. And, now they're not going to get ahead of the people's petition. At best, they're going to be on the same ballot with the people's petition, because guess what? Since Brian Hammonds voted the way that he voted, they're not going to be able to get the resolution to the bond commission. It's not going to happen.
Well, all right. Now, we did have a question earlier. I'm going to switch screens and then we'll come back to this. We did have a question earlier. So what if they call a special council meeting?
I don't know that they can. I think they could try that, but my gosh, what would that say to all of y'all in the public if they did that? Would that not tell you a little bit more about them? I mean,
right.
I mean, as if you don't already know enough.
Yeah. Okay. So because we're starting to get a little late at 9:25. I mean,
Ruth Polk Johnson is saying immediately they started saying they gave the citizens term limits. It's infuriating.
And they are
all liars.
Right. That's not us saying that. That's y'all saying that. Let's jump ahead. Let's see. There to the 131 mark, because Jacobs and Richard Ray had a pretty interesting kind of little exchange there that kind of summarizes this. So let's listen up for a few minutes.
You can't. No. You can't let the secretary get by, Sandra Morhart. Absolutely not.
Oh yes,
4751 mark.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Thank you for. Oh yes, she was a little confused. Hold on. All right, let's start with Richard Ray, and it'll go right into her. This is good.
Well, I think at this point it's moot. It's a moot point because you got to have the resolution, and it just failed on the last item. So you'll have to send it to you have to under the charter to send it to the people, but you'll have to do it some other day than December 7th.
Oh, he looked a little bit dejected there, a little bit.
Oh,
it didn't go exact.
He was all in on killing the petition. He can say what he wants to say. He was against the people's petition. I mean, he was against it.
All right,
I mean,
here we
he's rejected. You can look at it.
It didn't go exactly as planned today, but he should have anticipated that that it was going to fail. But here we go.
So,
shed a little tear. Oh, look, it's Sandra.
Hello, Sandra Morhart, 1317 Whitehall Drive, Bossier City. I just need clarification because what I saw on the screen passed and didn't fail. Was it the wrong one that popped up?
Has to be unanimous support.
Has to be unanimous.
To add
Okay.
to the agenda.
Go sit down.
So it's just not a majority?
Correct.
Okay.
All those meetings she went through, including adding stuff to the agendas on occasion with the Charter Commission, and she asked that question.
Well, see, but you got to understand from her perspective, she's confused about the type of rules that, I mean, I was really hoping she was going to tell them they don't have to follow open meeting rules. I mean, I would, and you're not following me.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. I was reading the comments. I was not paying attention.
She was, that's why I can see why she's confused on the vote counts and everything, because she operates under a different set of rules than what they have to operate under.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the rules that they just make up as they're going, along with the princess.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion to add the ordinance passed to add the ordinance to the agenda. The motion for the resolution is the one that failed because, thank goodness for Hammonds. The other one did pass. Now, there was a bunch of stuff in here about the marshal's office and about this deal that Hammond's put forward on the parking the cars in the yard. I want to talk about that, but we'll save that for next week. I'm going to skip ahead and maybe we'll talk about the Mary Ward appointment or lack thereof. Here we go. Let's see. Hammond's comment on not getting the charter, receiving the charter amendments. Here we go.
I would like to continue this too, since we didn't get this until 2 o'clock today. I have not even had a chance to even read through these. And to sit here to vote yes or no, whether or not to send this through, I would ask that we continue
listen to
this
Darby.
October 27th also.
Hold on.
Mr. Darby would have to remove his motion,
Listen up.
withdraw his motion.
Mr. Attorney, the council action does not impact this one way or the other because we can't amend it, we can't revise it. We're just voting to send it to the ballot. And matter of fact, I don't even think we sent it to the ballot because we didn't pass the other part of it
That
for
is
the
correct.
commission.
All right, listen.
This gets on the ballot in two parts. One is a resolution, the other is the ordinance that contains the proposed amendments or changes. Without the resolution to the bond commission, which was not added to the agenda by unanimous vote, then this would be a first reading. So of this, and but without the resolution, it doesn't go. It will not go to the bond commission with a request to be sent to the Secretary of State to be put on a ballot. Now, you can vote on the first reading today, and then you can come back in 2 weeks, and then you'd have a second reading plus a resolution, if you wanted to move forward in that manner, or you could but the ordinance part of it is an ordinance. You don't have discretion, but an ordinance does require 2 readings.
And here comes
That's fine.
Richard.
If we're going to have 2 readings on it, then that's fine.
Hurry up, Richard. Come to the mic.
Councilman Hammonds, if it helps alleviate any concerns you would have, the language that's in here is the same it's the exact same language that was passed last Friday by the Charter Commission, but also it's the same language that was adopted by the Charter Commission back on September the 16th.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
nothing's
just
changed
would
in the
like the
language.
opportunity to, we didn't see these until we walked in our chambers today.
Well, I agree, but that was because today's pretty much the very last day to get on the December 7th
I
ballot.
mean,
so.
I just, if we would have had these sooner to look over, but we didn't, so if we're going to have 2
Imagine that.
readings, then that's fine.
Well,
You have
this
to
was
pass
going to be
it
on
to read it.
the agenda a month ago, whatever the date was, but we had to pull it. There had been a complaint, so we had to have another meeting to address that complaint, so. But all the language is exactly the same.
Yeah,
It hadn't changed in
I understand. I would just like to
8
read it for
weeks.
myself, though.
All right. And here we
Well,
go. Let's see the vote.
I haven't seen it.
I have a motion.
They
by
haven't
Mr.
seen
Darby
it. I haven't seen it.
Hadn't seen it either. Let's see how they
Mr.
voted.
Williams to introduce an ordinance proposing amendments to the city
And then we're going to
charter
show
of the City of
Bubba
Bossier City as
Don's
recommended by the
response
Charter Review
as of
Commission.
about an hour,
That's
30
all.
minutes
Are
ago.
y'all okay with that? All right, cast your vote.
Here we go. Survey
Any questions from the audience
says.
before we do this? Cast your vote.
Motion carries.
And again, Brian Hammonds voted no. Thank you, Brian, for voting on principle. Chris Smith voting for it.
Well, the resolution vote was the primary one. That's the one that counted, and it counted at the most crucial time.
Right.
Which again, the purpose of this was to adopt a whole new charter, and it's still, to prevent the old petition, since it was a petition that was enacted under the old charter. If a new charter passes, now it sets up what Richard Ray formally talks about, that if we get through the Second Circuit Court and, and Richard Ray's former law partner, Jeff Thompson, doesn't get it killed, it will go on to a ballot where there's a competition, competition between a whole new charter and our charter amendment. And if what Richard Ray described months and months ago is correct, how this would play out, in which I think Richard Ray is right on it, how
Yeah.
that would potentially play out is that whichever one got the most votes would be the one that would prevail. So, so if you had our amendment, our petition on the ballot, and you had their charter, new charter amendment, new charter adoption on there, you know, whichever one got the most votes would prevail. So they could both pass with enough yays, but whichever one got the most votes, that would be the one that would prevail. So they've set up where, and I don't know, the bond commission may not allow that to happen.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what the bond commission has to say, which is a public meeting, by the way. We may need to go down to the bond commission meeting just for the heck of it.
Oh, I think that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. All right. Would you like to see Bubba Don's demeanor and response concerning the refugee situation as of 9:03 p.m. tonight?
Well, wait a minute, hold up. There's a couple of things in this. No, there's a couple of things still in this charter commission meeting this council meeting.
Oh, okay.
Let me take control here.
All right, go ahead.
So, at the point we were making earlier about conflicts of interest, y'all listen to this part. Here's a resolution that they're talking about. Listen.
Mr. Williams?
I hit it.
Motion carries. Adopt a resolution authorizing the replacement of one part-time position due to a resignation in the Bossier City Marshal's office. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, council? Questions from audience? Please cast your vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, so there's my point. Marshal's office, who's governing it, and the marshal's wife is on the charter commission making the rules of how the city of Bossier's governed.
Oh, but
I'm
Duke,
thinking, could
that
she
only
have, or
that only matters if she was pro term limits with retroactivity. That's the only time that matters. There's a carve out in the law, and she's fine.
Yeah, no conflict there at all. I mean, so okay. Now here's another point in the meeting that is this one's kind of weird, and even though the king wasn't present, the king is in control. And I mean, you know, Chris Smith and Tommy, I mean, they apparently don't know their role, but look, I'm playing the tape.
Okay, hit it.
Adopt a resolution authorizing the appointment of Mary Ward as the Director of Parks and Recreation to be effective upon retirement of the current director. First and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Up. Put the brakes on it.
Who made the motion? Chris.
I did.
Chris, can I ask you to rescind it? I was going to continue this item.
Wait, what?
Mayor, you want to jump in there or what?
It's already been motioned and second already.
It's not if he rescinds it.
You're wanting to continue this for 2 weeks?
Well, and I'll tell you why. Mr. Montgomery wants to.
Oh, you got it.
He's not here. He wants to be here to say favorable things, you know. So he asked me if we could continue the item.
Okay. Then I'll
Well,
rescind.
why didn't one of you guys get a statement from him and read it? You've got to be kidding
Motion
me.
to continue until October 22nd.
Yeah, our next meeting.
Who makes that motion?
What was the reason again?
Mr. Montgomery wants to
Mr.
be here.
Montgomery
He
wants to
say
speak in
favorable
favor of Ms.
things
Ward.
In support of.
Okay, but do we have the votes now?
Mr.
No, we
Montgomery
haven't-
wants
we
to
haven't
speak
voted
in
on it.
favor of supporting Ms.
Come on,
Ward,
Tommy. Speak up, Tommy.
and he's not here.
You just got punched
And
in
he
the
wants us
face.
to vote on
Get
the
up
record.
and knock back. Punch back.
Who makes that motion?
Well, there's nothing that Tommy can do.
Yeah.
No, there is something Tommy can do. You're wrong on that. And it's what I've said
Oh,
all along. There
yeah,
is something
he can
Tommy can do.
He can veto the 1.6 million change order of the Walter O. Bigby thing or something.
He could do that. He could use the bully pulpit right there and get on his high horse and say something about it. Not to mention he could hold a press conference later, but instead he just, and sits down. Tommy, I've been trying to be on your side because you've been so supportive of term limits, but that right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Quit letting them pick on you like that, especially David. Punch him in the nose, so to speak.
Jeff Sadow says, who runs Bartertown?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. How disgusting is that to y'all? I mean, and I don't think that it really matters because the Parks Rec director, I don't think is resigning anytime soon, or maybe it'll be the first of the year. I don't 100% know, but it's not like it's going to happen before the next meeting. So to wait doesn't really mean a whole hell of a lot. But the
No, but
fact
look
that
at the comment right there from Cassie. Now, I wasn't at the meeting, so I'm assuming Cassie is correct that this lady's family and other people were there for her, and this was shameful. He should have been, according to Cassie, and I agree, he should have been there if he wanted to address this.
yeah,
Well,
but I thought that was important. People needed to see that moment. I mean, just
well, and look, Ruth Pope Johnston says what the council did to the mayor was just wrong, period. I hate to tell you, Miss Ruth, if you go back to the Shane Cheatham appointment days, and this was mild compared to what they did to Tommy then, and I hate to say it, this is why I've been on Tommy's rear end so much. He just stands there and takes it. Goes and takes more selfies. When they open businesses, gets with Lisa Johnson. They go take selfies. The business is opening and cut ribbons. Hate it for you, Tommy, but you got to stop letting them hit you in the nose like that. That's ridiculous. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get on a Tommy rant.
well. Anyway, hey, so you've got something to share, and then I think we've got some other stuff to share. So I think
Oh,
we're
we
going to
do?
have to go back to that charter commission meeting. So there's been a couple of developments since we've been in the middle of the show.
Oh, all right. Well, let me
And then,
show my stuff first, and then we'll get to that. I just can't
okay.
wait to show this. All right. So let me see. This is an email we just got from our friend Kyle Schultz, of Princess Juliana fame and infamy. He sent an email to Bubba and he shared this with us, gave us permission to share it on the show. He sent an email to Bubba at 9:03 p.m. tonight. Said, Bubba if you support those refugees filling our streets, I suggest we start by letting them stay at you and Mr. Darby's house. You two can feed and clothe them. Sound great, Kyle Schultz. He replied, Kyle, I don't support the refugees. That shit is not on our agenda, so we don't talk about it. She can go to the newspaper or the news and talk about it. I haven't heard it on the news either. Thanks, Don. So there you go. That's what Bubba Don thinks of you. That's what your sitting city council president thinks of all you little folks that want to bring up things like, welcoming refugees.
Well, I disagree with him on addressing the issue, but I appreciate his frankness and position on where he stands on the refugees because I stand with him on it. They're
Yeah.
not refugees. I mean,
Yeah.
they're illegal aliens. They broke our laws to come here.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, I agree with the position, Bubba Don, but the way you handled Miss Alice was not right, and you might regret that. But we'll see.
All right, so I can trust taking my dog to his district. At least I know one safe space.
All right, so do you have some other stuff to share out?
Oh, yeah. So we got to go back to this charter commission meeting. And if you'll look in the folder, I dropped a video, and at that Charter Commission meeting, there was a little bit of activity out in the audience, and I was a little late.
Oh, yes.
And we got to address that. I wasn't going to go there at all. In fact, well, we will let the video play, and I will tell you
Okay.
who's who in here, because I had no idea. I was trying to catch what was going on because I was kind of caught off guard. I really didn't. I guess people give us too much credit. I mean, we have to figure things out.
Yeah. So, all right, let me hit this button. This is going to take us back to the Charter Commission meeting. So, remember the two women that I kept pointing out in the audience at that Charter Commission meeting? Let me see if I can get to a shot of them. Yes, these two women.
Well, I think in the notes, I think I marked the time on when one of the speakers, because what I was trying to figure out
Oh, yes. You did.
was, yeah, I was trying to figure out why this interaction took place, because I had no idea. I really was caught off guard by it. But
Yeah,
Mr. Maddox.
There we go. Here we go. All right. Vicky. Oh, no. Is this I'm sorry, not Vicky. Jennifer Soto. And interestingly enough, we'll tell you, let's listen to her comments, and then we're going to tell you who she is. All right. And if any of y'all know, feel free to share it out in the comments. Here we go.
My name is Jennifer Soto. My address is
Could you?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Soto. My address is 416 Carnaby Court, Bossier City, Louisiana.
Speaker number 3, you have 3 minutes.
I'm an actual resident of the city of Bossier, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, wait. Does that sound familiar?
Only actual citizens should have a right to speak.
Well, that's funny. There's a specific reason why she, of all people, should know better than that.
What kind of law does she want in this country? Anyway,
she should know better than that, and we'll explain more on that. So you're seeing two breaking things, one from Bubba Don, and then some never-before-seen footage here in just a minute.
I took an interview in interrogation class, and she's got her arms crossed. I think she's hiding something.
Oh, surely not. Surely not. Surely she hasn't been texting the little princess this whole time, but here we go.
This is very obviously a thankless job, and y'all have spent a lot of time and effort, a lot of time up here away from your family, away from your jobs that you're getting paid for, and you're not getting recognition for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody want to guess who that is?
Wait, hang on a minute. Before you can't just go there yet. We got to jump to that other video. So you saw that.
You know me. I'll jump in the fight immediately.
Now, did you see anything else going on in the background?
Let's go. Let's see.
Play back through that again. Go back through her comments again, and
all right. So I'm backing up. So what are we looking
right
for?
There. I mean, that's good enough. I'm not. There's supposedly something going on in the background, and I've been watching for it, and I haven't seen it. Have y'all play it again?
Job, and y'all have spent a lot of time and effort, a lot of time up here away from your family, away from your jobs that you're getting paid for, and you're not getting recognition for it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Was it right there? Hold on, let me back up.
I don't know. I haven't yet to see anything. Maybe maybe
let's watch the interaction right here between Mr. Maddox and, forgive me, I forget her name.
Yes,
hold on. Yeah, right here in the front row.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
See there? Okay. So that I'm guessing that's what precipitated it. So shall we reveal who that was speaking, or shall we jump to your video, which is much more exciting?
Let's jump to my video of why we're even talking about this. I mean, because she's got as much right to speak as a citizen of Bossier as anybody else.
All right, so hold on just a second. Did you put it in the files, or are you sharing?
I did. It's got no labels down at the bottom.
It's a video.
Yeah.
Don't have it yet.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let me see.
I've got a
if I-
screenshot of the video, which I can show. All right, so I'm going to show the
Oh,
screenshot
wait a minute.
first.
Wait, no.
No?
You're yeah. Hey, hold up. Let me do this. I may have to
Share
improvise and
screen.
overcome, folks.
Yeah,
Hang
share
on a
screen.
second. I am going to
All
have
right.
to improvise.
Trust us, you
and
want to see this because there was an interaction after the meeting that was caught on video. I've not boosted the audio or anything yet. This is actually my first time seeing the video, even though I was standing right there.
Okay, just hang on with me a second. I'm not the tech guy here, okay? You're the tech guy. So
well, we're amateurs. We should have been better prepared. We've only got 105 people waiting with bated breath to see this dude. Come on. Pressure's on.
I know they're going to want to see this. I don't know why. I'm trying to work with it here, and I can't. I'm having a little bit of difficulty. I'm good.
All right.
All right.
So
do I do this?
Keep
talking while I try to figure this out.
Text me the video.
I cannot.
You can't? Is it on your phone?
It won't even let me.
All right.
Yeah.
Come into the show link from your phone, and then you can share a screen from your phone and play the video. That may or may not work. All right. Patience, please. So, or I don't know how long the video is probably too big to email. Drop it in
there. It is.
Where is
I just dropped it to you.
Okay, so it'll take it. All right, it'll take it a minute to get to me, and then we'll show it. So this is never before seen footage, but the folks that were there at the meeting got to see it. So while I'm waiting on that to come through the text message, because it'll take it a minute or two to upload from you, let me share out who that speaker was. Lo and behold, and this will make sense to the video that we're going to show. Lo and behold, looky there. She's a law partner. So Juliana has successfully had 2 cheerleaders for her at the last couple of meetings. Imagine that.
All right. Show's completed.
Yep, I've got the video. So give me just a second and let me think of the best way to show this. All right, I think I can do it that way. And let me take.
So, like Juliana going after my neighbor, in which I didn't get my neighbor to come, and I'm sure she didn't get, Miss Soto to come. But I find it interesting that both of her, or 2 law partners or whatever they are, have come to the meeting. But she's engaging with some of the other people out in the audience.
Yeah. All right, listen up. I'm gonna.
They're literally going after people.
Yeah, I'm going. Remember when Juliana, the young princess, told us all about whether she felt safe and all that hoopla a few meetings back, which is all BS. Here we go. I'm gonna hit play. I haven't heard this, so I hope the audio sounds good.
Oh, there's no audio.
All right. Oh no. No system audio. I don't have system audio. Hold on. All right. Give me a minute. I can overcome that. Hold on, folks. Sorry.
Well,
show 229.
Yeah,
give me another minute.
And I had no idea who she was. I didn't at all. And in fact, I had not even paid attention to Miss Soto's comments. But it was the other lady that was, I hate to say an altercation, but was having words with the Maddoxes. And I really didn't know why or how that happened. But when I saw that there was some kind of confrontation going on, I immediately turned my phone on and I just started recording it. And so then as it was going, I tried to determine, okay, what made all of that happen? Because like I said in the beginning, I'd not put the face, with the Maddoxes. I mean, sorry, no offense, but I don't sometimes. I mean, the amateur journalist I am. I mean, I can't keep up with everybody. So I really what was transpiring there. I really and honestly was, but now it's come full circle for me now. Now
All
I
right.
know.
Just another minute or two, and I'll have it uploaded and we can play it. All just about done. All right, here we go. So now I think I can do it this way. Yes. And I can boost the audio up. Sorry, folks, technical difficulties for just a minute. Presto. Haha, here we go.
Yes. She had to make herself known. I taught character counts to children for 20 years, and I would have called them down in a heartbeat for that.
Ooh, she looks angry.
I'm so glad for role models. Are you one of those? No, I got to calm down before I interact with them again.
We can stay all day.
Very much. You walk with me, I think.
You record me? Would
Yeah,
you like
I
me
am.
here? Do you need my
Yeah.
name and address?
No.
I'm happy to do it.
No, I'm just curious why you were attacking them.
In a public space.
Yeah, that was all I was curious about. But Miss Soto obviously knew who I was because
Oh,
she
yeah.
grabbed that lady and says, "Come away." I didn't know who she was, but she knew me. She immediately is grabbing her and pulling her away. Oh no.
Oh no, don't deal with that guy.
And now,
Well, and now we know why.
why.
Now we know why, because that lady is one of Juliana's cheerleaders. Oh, partner.
Now,
I'm sorry, in her law firm.
partner. Now, look, you got to keep playing because the video's not over with.
Oh,
There's
okay.
more.
All right, so I'm going to let it play through. I'm going to back it up, and I'm
No.
going to let it play through the end.
Now, you might need to turn the audio up a little bit because it's a little hard to hear, and you're not going to see much on the video, but you need to listen to the voices.
Okay, so I'll do the best I can. Here we go. All right.
I taught character counts to children for 20 years, and I would have called them down in a heartbeat for that.
Wow. She looks angry.
Role models. Are you one of those? No, I got to calm down before I interact with them again.
We can stay all day.
Very much.
You can stay all day.
You walk with me, I think.
You record me? Would you
Yeah,
like me
I am.
here? Do you need my
Yeah.
name and address?
No.
I'm happy to do it.
No, I'm just curious why you were attacking them.
In a public space.
All right, here we go. Let's play it through.
Coming up here trying to get somebody. Don't do that. Although I wasn't.
I'm just attacking that lady. I'm curious as to why.
We had an issue where
Would you like me to tell you?
Sure. I'd love to.
It's because when I was walking off after I had the minute to say what I had to say, after I was very respectful for all of y'all's time, she turned around and said, "I want to know who she belongs to." That's why. Now, you have both sides of the story.
I didn't hear that. I was sitting
I know
right
you
there,
did.
but I didn't hear
I
that.
know you didn't.
Oh,
But
so
I did.
You're saying I intentionally didn't hear it?
No.
Okay.
I did. That's not what I said.
Okay.
I said I know you didn't hear it.
Yeah,
So
I
that's what
didn't hear
happened.
that.
And now you have both sides.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
It's really big.
I made one mistake.
Okay, so
That's it.
what was
That's
the
it.
mistake you made?
I didn't ask her who she belonged to. But
Yeah. Well,
now we know. Rusty
she-
Maddox said, and now we know.
She looked pretty mad, but I'm gonna say she belonged to Team Princess.
No doubt. No doubt whatsoever.
Both of them.
I mean,
Yeah, both of them did.
and it explains why somebody up there, which was another attorney, and I'm not going to say their name, when they were saying, "Don't do this, because they thought probably that I knew, and I was bird dogging it, and I didn't know. I honestly didn't. I was deer in the headlights, just wanting to know why that lady got so mad, and so
I mean, she was mad.
Yeah,
Of all the things said up there at that meeting, And in previous meetings, that's what she chose her little hill to die on. I mean, that's crazy.
It is, but look, we're all the deplorables, the no good, sorry, Bossier,
Oh, you people.
parish, you people ilk. We're the ilk of Bossier, and we're wrong for even putting this out there. We are, I mean, role models should be, viva voce.
Look, I gotta say, I mean, we've ad-libbed, and given our opinion, of course, tonight like we do every Tuesday night. But mostly tonight, we haven't had to say anything. We've let their actions and words speak for themselves. I want to kind of close out or start closing out with this. So let's get her off of there. And I put this up on the Facebook page, and I'm not going to go through the whole document because you can go to our Facebook page and read it, and I'll have it up on YouTube as well. But I put a post up there. The good old boys of Bossier City politics, a 30-year evolution leading to term limits. The first sentence in there, first paragraph. For over 3 decades, Bossier City's political landscape has been shaped by a tight-knit group of insiders, often referred to as the good old boys. This informal network, characterized by political maneuvering, deep-rooted friendships, and a preference for maintaining the status quo, has controlled much of the city's political and economic decisions. While these relationships once served to maintain stability and growth in Bossier City, recent political battles, most notably the push for term limits, have revealed fractures within this entrenched system. The fight has intensified, challenging the very foundation of the city's governance. That's pretty much what we saw tonight in a nutshell.
I think it's it to a T. I think it is. So, uh, who is the good old boys?
We asked this last show before last, I forgot, but it was kind of late in the night. And look, it's late tonight. It's 10 o'clock. We appreciate everybody still watching because we're still north of 100 people watching. That's insanely cool. We want a list from y'all. Start putting in the comments, even after the show's over tomorrow when you think about it. We want to know from you in the comments, who is your list of good old boys in the Bossier political system? Who do you think belongs on the list of the good old boys network? Look, I'll start it off, but it's pretty easy. David Montgomery. I mean, does he fit that definition? An informal network characterized by political maneuvering, deep-rooted friendships, and a preference for maintaining the status quo? Absolutely. Bubba Don Williams, who is on his way out. Bubba Don's a nice guy. He's in there. Jeff Free is in there. Absolutely. Part of the good old boys. That's what we're referring to. But don't limit it to the city council. Let us know in the comments of this show. Who do you nominate?
Jeff, we're going to get your dog Darby. He's in there.
Oh, yeah. Got to be in there, too. I mean, look, there's no doubt that Vince Maggio is in the group. He has shown time and time again since he set foot in office where he stands. Oh,
no doubt about it.
Philip Rogers. Philip Rogers campaigned to me in his truck riding around making videos that he was not going to be part of the good old boys and blah, blah, blah. Big disappointment to me. So I'm naming names. We want y'all to name names in the comments. Think about it overnight. Think about it in your sleep. Put a couple comments even tomorrow. Let us know. What say you, Mr. Lowry?
I've said enough. I mean, look, it's y'all's community. I mean, if you want to allow the same people to continue to control, direct, steer, and ignore you and ignore the laws, I mean, I don't know what more we can show people. I don't know. I don't know.
We're literally showing everybody what they're saying and what they're doing. And it's been our mission. I've posted on Facebook recently on the Bossier Watch page, but it's been our mission from day one when we were even talking about doing this show. Even years before before we had actually created Bossier Watch, Duke, you and I have had many conversations, and with other friends of ours, about, you know, being able to know what's going on behind the scenes, and the why and the how of things that are happening around here. And it's still our
You
mission
know,
today.
and what kills me is that so many people, they will step on all of their community just to stand by their friends in elected office and not disagree with them, not call them out, not stand against what they're doing because they're their personal friends. I
Right.
mean, that makes you complicit.
It
It
does.
does. If you just sit and you don't say anything and you don't do anything, that makes you a part of it. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, it does. And there are lots of comments rolling in. Again, even when we end the show or tomorrow after you think about it or the next day, keep the list going. We'll revisit the list next Tuesday night, which, by the way, 7 p.m. again, Mr. Lowry.
Now they had a business meeting, and I understand it was just as good as the council meeting, but we'll save that for next Tuesday as well too.
Yes, there will be plenty more to talk about every Tuesday, 7 p.m., same time, same place. Take us out of here, Mr. Lowry.
Good night. Good night.